Asian king, legend, I'm glow, U double S-A, I'm for feed the rich to the homeless, cause they're boneless, cook them up to their golden, like their home is, I got niggas, armada of a Trump Biden, 3 points in the head, Poseidon, yeah, get excited, peace ain't friend of mine, cauterize the bankers, get a bribe, Uncle Hostess rent could never lie, still a little scared if my niggas die, hey, why's there babe, oh no, what's our fate, I know you miss bliss, not knowing what's at bay, dreams I fear are hope, you stare, you fear halo, I'll still love you though, I'm just MOLOMBO, night guided blast with health friends, CCO, blast another Benz, killing cap, but call a happy day, if we're lagging it's because of them, the boys are meant to have.
Yo, 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 yo. What's good, everybody? How's everybody doing? Can you guys hear me? How's the sound? How's the sound, everybody? What's good, guys? You already know. You see the challenge. The new song came out today. And we are not ending the stream today until we can get 1,000 streams. We're not ending the stream today until we get 1,000 streams. Hopefully we can do that within 24 hours. We are currently at, I have the Spotify. Okay, sorry, I'm like yelling. I'm yelling my own home. Happy 4th of July, everybody. How's everybody doing? We're currently at 84 streams right now. It's been less than like what, 10 hours since the songs come out. We're at 84. We just need about 920 more streams today. Can we do it, chat? Can we do it? And let's see the test here. Let me just do test here, test. Perfect. Multi-stream is working. Awesome. How's everybody's 4th of July doing? Everybody doing good? Everybody healthy? Shouts out to your moms. If they play, they A-okay. Can you guys hear me well? With the music and my voice. I turned it down. All right. Oh wait, I gotta put that song on loop. That song is officially on loop. It's not just me doing the challenge. We're not ending the stream until we get 1,000 plays on the new track, guys. Only music we're playing. Sorry, no Marvel background music. I pull up to the trap and I say, join the fleet. Keep it high, Keith. I'm Congolese. Yo, what's good, BMJ? How you doing, BMJ? I'll give you, yo, guys, shout out to BMJ, one of the most loyal mods here. Comes to every single stream. I think you've been to about like 99% of streams, BMJ. Honestly, your loyalty is what keeps me that going on, TBH. But the challenge today, BMJ, with the new song out, I gotta be a real artist. I gotta be a real artist. There are artists who are dedicated to this, and I want to prove to people I am too. So we are not ending the stream until the new track "Feed the Rich" gets to 1,000 streams on Spotify. That's what you see over there in that left corner. I also have it over here on TikTok gang. It was a pain in the butt to try to figure out how to like maneuver how you guys could see it. We're currently at let me fresh. Yeah, we're at 84. We're at 84 right now. But these are live. This is Spotify for artists, so this is gonna be like live. So BMJ, if you haven't yet, run the song on repeat. You already know. Let's make this as painless as possible because I feel like it's gonna be a long stream. But I'm not ending it till 1,000 streams. It's gonna be a long stream. We're gonna be playing a lot of games. Probably gonna actually end up doing the because we're definitely not gonna play all the hours as it was just Marvel Rivals. I think we're definitely gonna tap in some Dragon Age for sure. Wait, hold on. What's going on? Yo. Yo. Cooked. Yo. Look what our artist just made for. Oh wait, can you guys see this? Look at what the artist did for Zyru. This is gonna be the gun god. It's crazy. It's that looks nuts. How was my 4th of July? Pretty uneventful. I literally spent all day promoting this song. It's like yo, Comrade Cuts, thank you for liking the live. I appreciate you. The challenge today is to get the new track up into 1,000 likes. Please, if you haven't had the chance, help us get closer and closer to that goal. Can I pin a comment to like let people know that? Let's see. Because there wasn't enough room. Am I sweating? Is it that hot? It's not that hot. Let's see. Oh shit, Mr. Famous. What's good, Kuma? How you doing? What's good, gang? How you doing? I'm not famous. How you doing? Today we're not ending the stream until we get the Feed the Rich song to 1,000 streams, guys, on Spotify. If you haven't yet streamed the song, we're at 85 streams so far. I'm playing it on repeat in the background. Post more shit so I could put it in my stories. I feel like I gotta, that's first off real. Appreciate it, going straight to the point, very real. Like what you mean, like just content in general? What you mean? But yeah, very real, very real. Yeah, stream the track, y'all. Can you guys hear me pretty well over the music? I tried to put it pretty low. I gotta do a video real quick to post on Instagram to let them know live. I ain't got time, but they watch my stories. I ain't got time. You ain't got time to just play 30 seconds of a track on Spotify, gang? That's crazy. Let's see. What do you mean you don't got time? Am I misinterpreting you? What you mean? What you mean? Do we seem siloed? Gear fist smash Kaido. Liberation rings our hope. Big tanks, yeah, Xi Jinping. Legend, I'll gloat. USSA, I'm 4. Be rich to the homeless, cause they're boneless. Cook them up to their golden, like their home is. I got niggas, Armada, fuck Trump, Biden. 3 points in the head, Poseidon. Yeah, get excited, peace ain't friend of mine. Carter, rise of bankers, get a bribe. Uncle Hostess Red could never lie. Still a little scared if my niggas die. Hey, why stare, bae? Oh no, what's our fate? I know you'll miss bliss, not knowing what's at bay. Dreams I fear, our hope you stare, you fear a halo. I'll still love you though, I'm just MOLOMBO. Let's see, okay. Let's see, not ending my live stream till we get to 1,000. Hurts our harmony. Oh, this is our replays. We head to DC. We got beasts to say, hey mom, yeah, we chose our fates, yeah. Good lord, what you mean, Miles? Also, why are the verified activist DNC shills? Who are you talking about? Whoa, who are you subtweeting? Who's the DNC shill? Wait, you could be a verified activist? That's crazy. What's good, Miles? How you doing? Cross me rise today. Oh wait, I just realized. just realized I was blocking like chat over here. Oh, did not mean to do that. All right, that's better, I guess. Yeah, you guys can kind of see chat. Can you guys see chat on your phone? I gotta test that out actually. Like every verified political account on Insta and TikTok, there's no way there's a verified activist account. I haven't met one. Also, I feel like Instagram isn't a good judge of verified. I feel like honestly, if you have a check mark and if you have a check mark on Instagram and you don't have a Wikipedia page, it's kind of silly, in my honest opinion. Thanks for getting us to 1,000 likes on TikTok, gang. Much love, much love. Who's doing that? Ghost Discourse, who's that? Let me look him up. Let me look him up. Oh, wait. Not this browser. This is the naughty browser. All right. Let's see. Dose Discourse. Who's Dose Discourse? I've never heard of this guy. Okay, who else? Look at his Insta. Okay. This is link. Terrible link. How do I get to his Insta? Damn, his SEO is garbage. All right, hold on. Instagram. Yeah, but yeah, he pays for it. Notice how you can see his whole real name. That's how you know somebody pays for it versus like they got it because of recognition. When they have to put their full name like this, like I get his first name and last name. I don't think this guy's an activist. This is just a liberal to me. Like I don't even have to watch his videos to know he's a liberal. Like I can just sense it. Like Cory Booker, I've never spoken about Cory Booker in my life. To me, Cory Booker is irrelevant. He's just a clone. He's a clone of every other liberal we're gonna get for years. Like I think paying him any mind is just it's your cook. Also, we're at 87 streams so far. We're trying to get to 1,000 guys. Wait, hold on. Can you guys? What does the stream look like from TikTok? Let me look at the stream from TikTok. Can I not watch my own live stream? That's crazy. Oh, I guess I can kind of see it. Oh, wow. It's actually not too bad. All right. You chat in your web browser. Okay. All right. So we stalked this guy. All right. Who's the other person we're stalking? Let's see. Oh, wait. Oh, clearing that. Yep. Clearing that. You guys don't need to see that. All right. You guys see how down bad I was? That was crazy. All right. Who is this girl? 25 most influential creators of 2020. Who is she? Oh, is this the girl that yells? Oh, is this the girl that yells in the bathroom? I feel like I recognize her. This is a liberal. This is just a liberal. I see, like, I can just sense it. You can tell somebody's leftist cred, but just by looking at them. We're at 89 streams so far, guys. If you have Spotify, let's help us reach 1,000 streams on Feed the Rich. All right. Yeah, this is just a liberal. What activists does from finance bros to feminist icon, Nema on comedy activity in the future of, like, this is like Issa Rae liberal. Like, there's not one activist thing she's doing. She's like doing rich people stuff. Like, I don't even know what she like when you have money, you stop caring about aesthetics, but you like things, you like things being avant-garde, like ironically. Like, you could, that's how I can sense it, you know, like this, there is no style to this. This is just avant-garde for avant-garde's sake. It's like, I don't care what I look like. You know, that's like, that's FU money, you know? Like, I could tell somebody's a leftist when they care too much about aesthetics. It's like Tumblr people, you know? Because aesthetics is all we got when we have 5 t-shirts in the closet and three different pants. At that point, it's accessories. Like, leftists are like, a leftist understands as aesthetics as a fashion icon. Like, no, I'm not exaggerating. You can sense it. Like, there's zero sauce. Absolute zero. Like, what is this? Deny, defend, oppose as under. Yeah, this is a liberal. Don't ever call her an activist, King. Like, what is this? That actually ruined my day. No, it was terrible. And there's no sense of posing. Damn, why am I talking crap? This crap. That's crazy. Let me make fun of a man. Somebody don't clip that, please, dear God, don't clip that. Oh, Jesus Christ. Twitch is dangerous territory for me, guys. I'm a frat boy. I'm a brocialist, as the kids say. You already know it. This is the proletariat. You already know the vibes in here. What the heck? I'm in the front lines, yo. Trust. I bully any liberal. I bully conservatives. I don't debate, I bully. Which is why I don't get invited to debates anymore. Because, like, when you support capitalism, you trap yourself into, because capitalism is inherently idealistic, which is why like progressives who have the idealistic mindset are so much closer to that right wing. When you truly accept dialectic materialism and see things how they are, it's hard to take seriously most arguments against people with an idealistic framework. So I just come at them as the person they are. To me, there is no gallery of ideas or the theater of ideas. It's just you, me, and who you are as a person. Which is why Cam doesn't debate me anymore, because I kept asking him where he graduated from. I know he doesn't have a college degree, but he said he went to business school, and I kept asking him what business school, because this dude's supporting capitalism. You have 600,000 followers, and you're just gonna lie to people that capitalism is the greatest when you don't even have like you don't even have the balls to tell them that you didn't even go to school. Because there's nothing wrong with not going to school. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're gonna sit here and lie to your audience that you went to business school, I'm gonna put you on your ass. Nah, yeah, I don't debate, I bully. Like, it's like a waste of my time. You can't convince anybody. Like, I personally believe you are only helping the right wing by doing debates, because you create this, you inherently create this this structure where both your ideas are on the same playing field. I'm like, no, Marxist-Leninism, dialectic materialism is a superior mindset, 100%. You are level 1. We are not on the same playing field. Like, we are all born into a system, especially even the West. You're all born into the system where you're essentially brainwashing, thinking capitalism is the quote unquote correct mindset. It takes trials and tribulations to not only recognize the system that you're in, but be able to see the contradictions, then be able to read theory. That is very difficult, especially when you're poor. You don't have time to like read books or listen to a podcast. So yeah, I'm out here on level, I'm out here, honestly, I won't even say level 10, I'm level 99. I'll say I'm level 86. I'm level 86. There's still a couple theories I need to read on, but I'm level 86. If you're still drinking the sauce, if you're still looking to boot, you're level 1. We're not debating. We're not the same. You're still stuck at level 1. Like, you're able to get maybe level 2. You're able to get to maybe level 2 when you say I don't like capitalism. That's just level 2. That's just level 2. Level 3 is saying Bernie Sanders and AOC have good takes. That's level 3. I'm level 86. We're not the same. We're not the same. You're getting bullied. There's no debate. We're not the same. I'm gonna tell you run your XP. I'm gonna tell you you need to grind more. You can skip a few levels with a couple podcasts for sure. At most level 25. When you join an actual Marxist-Leninist party, that's a cheat code to get to the level 40s for sure. All right, you telling me Handmaid's Tale and Kamala Harris won't save us? Absolutely not. You're stuck at level 1. Maybe level 1.5 if I had to be like generous. If I had to be generous, Democrats are level 1.5. They just got a tutorial. For sure, just got a tutorial. All right wingers are still in the tutorial, barely getting there to level 1. Level 1 for like a conservative is like a libertarian. Like an American version of a libertarian. That's like just got to level 1. Anything there is a level 0, like tutorial, you know what I mean? Like RuneScape. I would even give him that. That's what I'm saying. Like if you follow me and my content in CR Afghan, you're at bet like I'm generous to my fan base. If you're not part of a Marxist, like this is like the idea, the framework that you're not part of a Marxist-Leninist party. Like you haven't read any theorists, you just consume my content, you come into my chat room and be like, yo, Molombo's base, I like Molombo. I get DMs from people saying like, yo, to some people, your word is law. I'm like, that's crazy. But I'll take it. I'm like, okay, to those people whose only form of politics is just consuming my content and they just go la-di-la-di-da, I'm gonna play video games onto that. I'm a cheat code for you to hit like maybe level 20, level 25. I'll give those people that. I'm dead ass instant 20 levels for you, 100%, because I make you question things, 100%. I don't understand. Like I don't understand how I don't radicalize people with my presence, 100%. I make people think. I give people uncomfortable truths all the time, like it's water, 100%. Because quite honestly, this is what I be thinking about all day. Like we were just having a discussion on the live stream yesterday when I was telling people like, yo, I can't believe a lot of Americans don't understand that racism is an American invention. Like what, like Africa was part, they were not saying the N-word during the Roman Empire. Like people are cooked. Like what? Like racism 100% of the creation of the capitalist system that was built, or of the settler colonialism system that was built within the 13 colonies. It's like it's damn near a cope for when I see these right wingers saying like, oh, everybody's racist. I'm like, no, what? Are you cooked? What are you talking about? It's like it's 100% a cope. I'm like, yo, there's the only way to apologize for my cooked mindset of how to see a human being with just a darker skin tone and think, oh, everybody thinks this way. I'm like, nah, Brody, what? Would you willing to be talking about more about centralized organizing versus decentralized, and what framework? Like based off like in a government system? Wait, show me a line graph of the political spectrum, pretty please. Show me a line graph. Like a line graph of the political spectrum. Like what do you mean line graph political spectrum? Like Google it. What do you mean? By the way, guys, we're not ending the stream until we get 1,000 streams on the Spotify song. Thank you for the people showing up on TikTok. I just dropped a new song, Feed the Rich. If you guys can kind of see it on the TikTok background, we're at 91 streams. So let's get us to 1,000. Please go open up your Spotify. You could also go to the link within my bio, hit that link, play the song. You only need to play the song for 30 seconds for it to count as a play, but preferably hit that thing on repeat and just like let it just play in the background, okay? Or go to your PC, just let it play in the background so you can still use your phone, you know what I mean? Keep the volume just a little bit low, because I'm pretty sure Spotify can detect when you have the volume low. Or is that TikTok? I always confuse the platforms. Government and organizing for revolution in general. Well, there would be no decentralization when it comes to the revolution. I think that's an anarchist pipe dream. Oh yeah, if you're an anarchist, you're perpetually stuck in like the level 10s, 100%. If you're an American anarchist, you're perpetually stuck into the level 10s until you accept the idea that the only way to defeat a state is with the rival state. Until you realize that the only way for the working class to have freedom is for the working class to control the state. Until you accept that, you're stuck in the level 10s. All anarchists are level 10s. They will not rise up from the level 10s. At most, They can like at most an anarchist can reach level 19 when he like actually reads like the theory that he pretends to actually like enjoy. I don't know one American anarchist that actually reads like anarchist theory, which is actually like pretty like which is actually like quasi based. But Lenin destroys the idea of anarchism within state and rev. So like I'm sorry. If you're an anarchist, I'm just gonna let you know you're perpetually stuck in level 10s. Perpetually. And you know why? I just explained it. You guys can clip that. But yeah, no, 100%. If we have to understand, like, if we have to see how the revolution would go about within the American within our framework of America, I think the best way to look at it, the best way to see how our revolution would go is that people really need to study how revolutions happen within other nations, with the USSR, with China, with Cuba, with Laos, with Vietnam. There's quote unquote, yeah, there's differences that a lot of ultras like to espouse, but there's way more similarities than differences. It all started with a stratified working class, or a peasant class, or a marginalized permanent underclass, and which would uplift the rise of socialist aligned groups, political groups within the country. And these socialist aligned, communist aligned political groups would create a dual power structure within their nation, like the Bolsheviks within the USSR, or the People's Republic Party with Mao, where he emboldened the peasantry class and created the dual structure there. There wasn't really a proletariat within China at the time, but which is what Marx expected that to be the conditions for a socialist revolution, which is why Maoism's a thing. Mao is able to create the understanding that you can radicalize the peasantry class. And you see, and there is a little bit of an opposite effect where within Cuba, where the people overthrew the government first, and then became aligned with the understanding of communism. It was the people first that did overthrowing before they came into the theory. But with Vietnam, you kind of have the similarities, but you also have the fact that Ho Chi Minh. I want to do a video about Ho Chi Minh, where Ho Chi Minh quite literally studied revolution in the USSR. He knew many African leaders. Like Ho Chi Minh was essentially like the first best example that a revolutionized country can teach a revolutionary to create a successful revolution in this country and beat the biggest capitalist superpower in the world. Like Ho Chi Minh is the best. Oh god, like literally, if you guys look into the life of Ho Chi Minh, his life is literally a video game. It's crazy. Wait, like your political spectrum videos and what you're saying now, put it in a line graph form. If something is level 1, work your way to level 10 and beyond. I would have to make a way more distinct okay, like well, this is a little smaller than like how I usually do my political spectrum. Let's see. This is terrible. Yeah, sure, we'll use this. This is from Britannica, but it's like whatever. Can you guys see that? Dude, I hate Google Images. Used to be so good and now it sucks. All right, open image, new tab. Okay, perfect. So this is like level 0. Wait, hold on. I got. You can't see it on Twitch. Let me move it. Let me move my head. I got my big old head. Let's see. I gotta move my big old noggin. All right. Damn, I'm tiny now. All right. So reactionary far right. This is like level. This is like level 0.5. This is still like level 0.6, level 0.6 right here. This is like level 0.8 right here. This is like maybe like 0.9, like 1.1. You know what I mean? Like a casual, like I would say, like if you really enjoy AOC, like That's like, you think like AOC is like the most badass like you've ever been, like you really started questioning the system. Like you're a soft, like you're a soft level 5, maybe a level 7. Like you're getting there like 5 to a 7, you know what I mean? You're a 5 to a 7. Radical far left, it depends. Like this is obviously not a very descriptive graph. Like what does radical mean? Like, cause like radical AOCs are radical to some of the people like all here, which is why these guys are perpetually stuck in the sub ones and the ones and stuff right here. But radical here, this is when you can touch the 10s. When you're an anarchist, you're in the 10s. When you start accepting the idea that any anarchist community will get absolutely crushed by the state 100%, as has been done many times with other marginalized groups throughout history. When you accept the fact that the state doesn't create class conflict creates the state. Once you accept that, Lenin's words, a bar, that's when you can finally hit the glorious level 20s and start reading theory. And you jump every 10 levels once you go from reading Capital to State and Capital by Marx, then State and Rev by Lenin, then understanding the revolutionary histories of Cuba, Vietnam, Laos, China. Once you understand that, that's when you hit the level 30s, level 40s. Then once you start understanding material conditions, that's when you hit the level 50s. Then level 6, understanding material conditions, understanding why they have to do their version of communism based off the historical, the real world historical implications and the real reality that they live in. Which is why, you know, communism looks different in China than it does in Cuba, than it did in the USSR, than it does in Vietnam. Once you start understanding that, you're in level 60s. You're getting close there. You're getting very, very close to there. Level 70s is when, after you have all that knowledge, you start deconstructing your worldview of what you thought capitalism and communism was. You were going back, actually retreading your steps and really rethinking your propaganda, why you think the way things were. That's the level 70s. It sounds easy, but this is all really hard, because this is when you get ultras. This is how you destroy ultras, because ultras are sneakies. Ultras can hit level 50, kind of, but they do this stuff where they're like, oh, but China isn't real communism. Those are ultras. That's why they're perpetually stuck in the 40s. I'm like, okay, you guys don't understand dialectic materialism, all right? Communism isn't a poverty doctrine. Communism isn't a religion. It's a science. It's adaptable. Science is adaptable. It's an economic science. It's a social. It's a reason why. It's a reason why to get a PhD in sociology, the only available PhD in sociology is a PhD in Marxism. It's the highest level of the science of sociology. Like you can't. I had somebody in my comments saying like Marx didn't approve of the USSR revolution. I'm like, Marx isn't Jesus Christ. He is a scientist. What? It's like it's like blaming a spaceship crash because Galileo wasn't there, or because Isaac Newton wasn't there to approve it. It's like discrediting the moon landing because Isaac Newton wasn't there. It's crazy. It's insanity. It has no basis in reality. So, and okay, so then I'm getting out. Okay, so I'm shitting on ultras. To get Lenin isn't Jesus also. Lenin isn't Jesus also. But we all learn. That's the point. That's the points of the science. We're able to. That's what also makes the science invincible, because you can always learn from each system and how they applied the science, because it's ever growing. Capitalism didn't come to the world without mistakes. I'm sure if we could magically like just know all the pros and cons of capitalism, we could have avoided the transatlantic slave trade. But that isn't how reality works. It has bumps and roads. But thankfully, when we're trying to work out communism, socialism, and communism, it doesn't end up with things like the transatlantic slave trade. All right. The bar is actually quite high still. You follow me on Twitch. I'm literally on Twitch, Comrade Cuts. You can. I'm literally on VOD on Twitch. Go follow the Twitch. Follow the Twitch. But no, please, I would love somebody to cut up all this level stuff, because I feel like I'm definitely forget, because I be yapping like this. All right, so when we go from, okay, and then to get to level 80s to the level 90s is when you start applying all the understanding of the material conditions into America. I would say I'm a soft level 90. I'm a soft level 90. I'm gonna hit the 100 soon. I'm him for sure. Getting to the level 80s to the level 90s is when you start applying, okay, with your understanding of the material conditions, the understanding that communism is science, with your full understanding of the material conditions of all the other revolutionary countries and how they apply their science, having a full understanding of how their governments, how their state-run governments works and why they have to do the way the things they do, understanding why China had to open up their economy to quote unquote market capitalism, but also understanding that it's very much in a controlled space. That the best way to control capitalism, the best way to control capitalism is having the working class control what it can and cannot do, because capitalism could run without the need of human beings. It's the idea that even if somebody were to quote unquote take out Jeff Bezos, another Jeff Bezos would replace him, because that is just how the system would work, especially if there's a bourgeoisie class still running it, which is why there's a working class to stamp it out. That's how it works. And also you also hit the high level 70s when you understand that socialism does not mean all billionaires socialism doesn't mean there's no billionaires. Socialism means that billionaires, capitalists, will not have political power. That's when you really hit the high level 70s, high level 80s, because a lot of ultras have this problem because they're so cooked by the idea that yes, the capitalists are the problem for sure, but socialism, communism saves the capitalists too, because they no longer have to worry that there's a knife in their back, because the working class controls things now. Because right now they do what they do because they feel the need to ever be an ever-growing threat, which is why it feels like when you go against the system, it feels like you're going against an army. It's the threat control. They're worried about themselves too, but socialism saves them. They never have to worry about that because we'd be in control. It's there's a good antidote on Red Sales about this actually, where it's why Chinese billionaires are actually so loyal to the Communist Party, because they no longer have to worry about the threat of their workers like taking them out at night. The worst they have to do is just listen, pay their taxes, don't pollute the lake. Liberalism is inherently right-wing ideologies where capitalism came from. Yeah, no, we were making fun of this. Malcolm. You came late. We were making fun of this. We were 100% making fun of this. Come on now. You know who I am. Also, thank you for getting us to 3,500 likes. Oh, yo, Comrade Cuts, get onto Twitch right now. Follow the Twitch live stream and clip this up, bro. We're spinning bars. Workers make it all work. Socialism saves the bourgeoisie as well, because they don't have to worry about the knife in their back. There's a great article about this. It creates a sense of patriotism. But so this is when you get to high level 80s and 90s, when you shed, because an ultra leftist is kind of like a new atheist. When they've been so cooked by religion all their life, they veer into essentially like their a more materialist but still very idealistic way of thinking that has no basis in reality. But let's see. Okay, and then we hit the level. So we hit the level 80s, level 90s. When you, with all this knowledge, you understand how do we apply this dialectical materials framework into America. What is America? What would a theoretical? How would you apply the Marxist science into the material conditions of America today? For example, America isn't China. China's the biggest push. The biggest leg up that China had in terms of all the other revolutions was the basis of Confucianism within the Chinese within the Chinese cultural framework. There was already a framework of a holistic attitude within the Chinese framework. So our closest we don't have that in America. Very individual, very John Locke up in here. A lot of Protestant what's it called? Protestant good word. What's it called? You guys know what I'm saying. You guys know what I'm saying. So we have to deal with these material conditions. When we talk about applying the material conditions within the framework, Something that ultras have a problem with, which keeps them perpetually stuck in level 50s and 40s, is the idea of meeting people where they are. From the USSR's revolution to China, to Cuba, to Vietnam, to Laos. You guys, most leftists or socialists or get surprised when looking at history. Most people, even within those situations, just like today, don't give a fuck about politics. They're reacting to the situation at hand, which is why Lenin was so integral with establishing the idea of a vanguard party. There has to be a party that takes control of that's able to see the material reality and be able to guide the masses into socialism. That's how it works. Because most people, even those dire situations, don't really give a fuck about politics. They're reacting to their situation, which is why, like, I tell people when people ask me, "Oh, when's the moment?" There have been plenty of moments where the revolution happened. BLM, the 99% movement. The problem with those movements, there wasn't a vanguard party. That was the only reason. Like, all those are situations where are similar situations where a revolution happened. There just isn't a popular vanguard party at that moment that to take control of that energy. Yes, there's always could be moments. Necron Raji, thank you so much for following the live stream. Let's go. There's always going to be moments. And the contradictions will continue to ramp up and more and more. When you see things like Zorhan Madani getting popular in New York, there's plenty of historical basis for that. Within the history within the USSR, it wasn't just like the Bolsheviks came out of nowhere. Pretty much most political parties had to say there was some sort of socialist to be popular with the masses because the conditions were that bad. Which is why conservatives like to do this false framework, like, oh, the Nazis were National Socialists. I'm like, no, it'd be no different today when the Republican Party called themselves the Tea Party to make them to call themselves the Tea Party to make it seem as if they were the rebels, even though they just want to keep everything the same, but just worse for the people who are still the permanent underclass within the superstructure. It is no different in language. Buffalo wings are not made from buffaloes. You have to look at things. You have to look at the actions. It's a science. This is when we always watch out for that. Okay, but back to being able to hit the level in the 80s and level 80s, level 90s. Being able to understand the material framework, meeting people where they are within the America that is today. The best way to look at it is Cuba. The people were the masses were the first to revolt under the regime of Batista within Cuba. And it took the mass popularity of somebody like Fidel Castro, who when he first stormed Batista's mansion with only 5 men and got captured and sent in prison, and he had his 2-hour speech that got spread across the entire island, he was freed by the people. Most people don't understand that Fidel Castro wasn't even a communist at the time, and it was Che Guevara that convinced them. What's going on? Most communist countries have failed horrifically compared to capitalist ones. The vanguard party is dangerous. It gives too much power to politicians. This is false. Literally, China exists. USSR, with every single graph, was much better than it was before. And even at the time, look at it. The USSR in 60 years went from peasants to getting to space in 60 years before the United States of America. Like, what? When you see Chill and Spill is level 1. Chill and Spill is probably level 0.7. He's probably not even ones yet. The fact that he says have failed horrifically compared to capitalist ones, what is your definition of failure? When has communism participated in the transatlantic slave trade? When has communism nuked 2 civilian populations? When has communism to this day funded a genocide in the Middle East? What is your definition of failure? If you think that's all successful, you're perpetually level 0.5. The USSR collapsed in 1901 because of capitalists, because of the USA. What? If we're talking about, oh yeah, capitalists are successful at infiltrating nations, killing democratically voted leaders. Yes, capitalism is successful at being truly the great Satan. 100%. Capitalism is successful in marginalizing the third world, the global south. Capitalism is great at making you feel, making it feel that you, making you feel less than yourselves, making you feel that you have to buy things in order to feel less worthless. Capitalism is great at making you feel like, yeah, it's okay for the government to not give a crap about me. This is okay. This is how life should be. Yeah, if that's how you think, yeah, capitalism is doing great. Capitalism makes you feel worthless every day. It makes you feel like, yeah, nobody should care about me. It's just me. It's just me, and all I have to do is do the FBI's job for them without getting paid, and go to a live streamer's chat box and be like, no, actually, it's okay to get spit on the face by your local politician. That's the correct way how life should be. Yada yada yada. Yeah, capitalism is doing great at having that brain absolutely cooked. Let's see, even with sanctions, I don't debate, guys. I told you, I bully. Let's see, absurd great Jedi. Even with the sanctions, Cuba has been on the up and up. And imagine, Cuba has a higher life expectancy than the United States, even with the sanctions. Cuba still gives out. You can get free college. You can get free medical school if you apply to a university in Cuba. Did you know that? And they'll teach you Spanish for free. Did you know that, guys? Cuba has the resources to do all that. Imagine how much, and that's because of communism. Imagine how much greater Cuba would be without the embargo, embargoes when they get you, without the naval blockade. That's what America fears. That a country off the coast of Florida with a completely different economic system could truly show people, yeah, a different world is possible. I really hope, by the way, TikTok gang, for the love of God, TikTok gang, get to Twitch and clip this up, because this is going, I'm yapping. This needs to be clipped. I know I'm spitting fire, but this needs to be clipped, TikTok gang. Guys, we're missing a lot of clips here. It's super easy to clip things here on Twitch. I have a bot made, !CILP. By the way, the goal of the stream today is so that this next single hits 1,000 streams. If you haven't hit my new single, Feed the Rich, link in bio, play that song, get on your PC, hit that repeat button. Let's get us to 1,000 streams, because right now we're only at 97 and we've been streaming for 47 minutes. Guys, we're not ending stream until we get 1,000. That's crazy. All right, so back to being able to hit the level 80s and level 90s after we sorry, I have to bully old dude right here. Okay, so to get the level 80s and 90s, it's understanding how to apply Keep of the Word King. The masses will be at least level 51 day. Christ, to have the masses all ultra leftists would be a dream, which is pretty much a China. Like, pretty much China. There's so many ultras in China. That's pretty much what started Tiananmen Square. It was a bunch of level 10s fighting a bunch of level 50s. Like, nothing's more cooked than meeting a Chinese liberal, which is actually becoming less and less every day. Like, literally ever since Redno and Chinese liberals really realized that their government wasn't lying to them, Americans actually do have to pay over $1,000 just for an ambulance. They realized, like, oh, we actually are like cooking. It's crazy. Which is pretty much what like destabilized a lot of the USSR, because there's a great antidote where workers in a factory in Russia said they wanted the American system where they felt like they had control of their of the workplace. That's how cooked the propaganda was America is pushing out. Crazy, right? But now with the internet, China can actually be like, oh wait, the average Chinese netizen could be like, oh wait, we actually have it better. That's crazy. It's crazy. I'll say the average level in China is like a level 20, level 30. With the Vanguard Party perpetually being like if you read the latest theory drop by Xi Jinping is level 90, level 110. Xi Jinping is probably one of the most successful revolutionaries we have in humankind right now. Xi Jinping is an incredibly smart man. Like, it's like, I wish we had a head of state who's just dropping theoretical doctrines on the state of the economics right now. Like, Xi Jinping's last economic drop was literally just talking about the state of China as it is, its march towards socialism, how its projection on communism, his goals on starting the next common term. Xi Jinping wants to start the next international within his lifetime. That is, bro is the GOAT for sure. Can you imagine in our lifetime we have another commentator in international? That's crazy balls, yo. Currently live or just really right now. Right now. Who is live right now? Xi Jinping is the greatest. If Fidel Castro is saying that, this is like, I'm not, and I can't stay here that I'm out here being original. Guys, we're at 98 streams. I'm pretty sure me playing the song in the background is the only stream going on. I know damn well right now you guys do not have Spotify open. You are not playing the song on repeat. What the hell, guys? Talk to me right now. Before what's going on? Are you guys playing? Just be real clear. Are you guys playing the song on repeat? What's going on? Or just listen to me rant. Come on now. Support. All right, back to it. Xi Jinping is one of the most important. I'm plagiarizing Fidel Castro, but Fidel Castro said it himself. Xi Jinping is one of the most is one of the most important revolutionaries of our lifetime. Like if Fidel Castro is saying that, like that's bars. Because how do you spell his name? How do you spell whose name? My name? MOLOMBO, MOLOMBO on Spotify. I'm not kidding, guys. I know damn well, I'm looking at the streams right now. I know damn well you guys are not streaming it. What do you mean, bro? No, I know damn well you're not streaming this song. The guy you're talking about, Xi Jinping? You don't know how to spell Xi? Okay, you don't know our Lord and Savior Xi Jinping? President of the People's Republic of China? Oh, the Communist Party in China has literal multi-millionaires in the party. I don't think they should be there. Oh my God, guys. Oh my God, guys. We have a perfect example of an ultra. Socialism does not mean there are no rich people. Socialism is not a poverty doctrine, you freaking level 30. Actually, no, the fact that you say that, you're level 20 for sure. You're level 20 for sure. Socialism means these people do not have political power. What political power do millionaires have when the entire party is 2/3 communism? Over 60% of the 3,000 member strong legislative body of China, which is the leading body the leading branch within the Communist Party of China. For example, we have the executive branch in America, we have the legislative branch and the judicial branch. It would be as if instead of the executive branch having the most power, it would be the legislative branch. That's how it works within the system within China. And imagine that Senate and House are combined into 3,000 members that represent every single county within China and the major cities. That it would be like that. Now imagine over 60% of them have farming backgrounds. That's how it works within the system within China. I know damn well this guy doesn't know this. Mr. Chillinspill doesn't know this. He's a level 20 and 30. He hasn't taken the time to actually study this government system. He just thinks, oh, millionaires, bad, that's socialism. Like it's fucking ludicrous. Like if you're actually gonna spout shit that the FBI and CIA will agree with, you have to know you're wrong. Like this is 1 + 1. If I'm repeating things that the FBI and CIA agree with, you're not a fucking socialist. Like it's not hard to think this way. Would the FBI and CIA agree with me that I probably should rethink what I'm fucking saying? Like this is not hard this is not hard. God damn.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate, yo, Kamar, cause now this is when you come in, bro, when I'm spinning bars like this. I don't know if you're gonna have to wait until the stream is over to be able to clip that. I think that you can only clip like the last minute. I didn't know him and C-Bro was cool like that, but yeah, but if there's rich people, abuse or capital, they actually face consequences, for sure. You know what happens when you fail an audit as a rich person in China? You know what happens? You die.
Yes,
that's
sir.
it. You die. You know what happens? 40% of billionaires go to jail in China. You know how many billionaires go to jail in America? Guess. It rhymes with Nero. 100%. Also appreciate, thank you so much. Exactly. I appreciate inshallah. No, honestly, mazala, honestly. May our God protect. I'm Roman Catholic, but I'm not gonna lie, the Muslims have the best way of invoking God. I'll say that right now. The Muslims have the best way of invoking God. I think inshallah, bismillah, and mazala are bars. I'm not gonna lie. Let's see. Yeah, but if there's rich people, yeah, but if there are rich people abuse their capital, they actually, exactly what you said. Yeah, I appreciate the follow, Carmar Cuts. I appreciate the follow, your Uncle Kevin. I really hope you guys clip up what I'm saying after the stream, because I know I'm spitting bars right now. This is all train of thought right now. Mr. Happy says, we need to go to China and server them freedom. China is already free. China's been free, 100%. Like, it's crazy to me that Americans, literally the most common clapback I see. Guys, for the love of God, I'm gonna pause right now. I know I'm looking at the streams right now. I know damn well you guys do not have Spotify open and you're not playing this damn song. I know damn well all these streams are me right now playing the song in the background. Stop right now. Go to Spotify on your PC, play Feed the Rich on repeat, or support your content. I'm not even telling you guys to buy anything. I'm not telling you guys to buy anything. Just play the damn song on repeat. God damn it, support the kid. It's a communist track. All right, America is never free, 100%. 100%. Support your damn content creator yapping right now. I'm literally yapping about what I'll talk about in the song. The song is damn near my Communist Manifesto. I gotta say that in the copy. What the hell? But guys, what the hell? Play the damn song. Listen to me, yeah. Ballwalk, thank you for liking the Ballwalk, thank you for liking the live. But yeah, no, most common refrain I hear from America is when I ask in America, when America tries to tell me, I'll go, China isn't free. I'm like, what? You can watch iShowSpeed's literal streams in China, and you're telling me China isn't free? What do you mean? You guys like, oh well, they get their average minimum wage is lower than us. I'm like, they get more. They have universal health care. They don't have to worry about having to drive everywhere because they have fucking bullet trains. There are so many things they don't have to worry about paying for. Yes, comparatively, they can live on a $4 or $5 minimum wage because it actually gets them an apartment. You don't have to worry about needing to drop $1,000 on a damn ambulance. You don't have to worry about cable, internet bills being out the ass. The rent's affordable. I'm looking into getting my doctorate in China. You know how much it is for a full semester in China? Sorry, a full year at this Chinese school, Guangzhou University, the same school Xi Jinping graduated from. You know how much a full year was? A full year was $2,000 a semester for an international student. Rents, dorm rents for a 1-bedroom just to myself. You know how much the rent was? $200 a month USD. Yeah, minimum wage could be an average $4 or $5 if you're living life like that. I can't imagine what could be $200 a month in America. What's 200 USD rent in America? A box, a shoebox, a little corner in an IKEA, a little corner in a franchise McDonald's bathroom. Like what? Ain't nothing $200 a month. Like China's free. China's free, 100%. The only reason, I swear to God, the only reason I'm in America right now is because I'm a stubborn American. That's understanding. That's understanding meeting Americans. I'm stubborn. I truly feel like I need to be here to teach all these cooked fucking these cooked motherfuckers like, yo, a better world is fucking possible. You're just so cooked. You're not thinking. It pisses me off. I'm like, bruh. I'm like, I have to prove my fellow countrymen right. I'm like, you are not using your brain. You are not using your brain. I feel like I'm not the smartest person in the world. I'm just stubborn, and I don't like to be proven wrong. And when I started out level 1, communists were proving me wrong every day. I'm like, why the hell are these communists always checkmating me? And I became one. That's how it works. Oh my God, here this go. There are other countries that offer that. It's not only inclusive to China. I'm not a socialist. I know you're not a socialist. That's why you're level 10. You're not even level 10. You're level 9 probably. What countries offer that? What countries offer that aren't perpetually exploiting a system? Are you gonna say the Scandinavian countries who are to this day exploiting the global South? Is that what you're gonna say? I see, because when you get to level 90, level 80, you can telegraph these guys. You can telegraph somebody at this level. I already know he's gonna be like, oh, Norway and Sweden. I'm like, Norway and Sweden, huh? Norway and Sweden right now. Who still perpetuate the NATO, who still uplift NATO, who still uphold the capitalist system that hurts the global South. Are these the countries that offer that? Their blood money? What colonies does China have? Exactly. Exactly. He's not going to type this. I know exactly what he was going to say. Because when you're level 90, you could just telegraph this stuff, bro. Bro, it's exhausting. I'm just like, bro, like the fact that I could just predict what you're going to say, bro. I'm like, are you not exhausted about just being smarter? Like, do you just want to be smarter? Like, do you just want to like think, like, do you not want to be just a bootlicker? Like, I would hate to, okay, guys, we're at 100 streams right now. Let's get to 900 more streams. Let's get it, guys. I don't debate, I bully. I don't debate, I bully. Like, if I see it as my side, I just bully. I'm just like, there's no reason you should be thinking like this. I believe you should be a smarter person. I believe every American should be smarter. And it frustrates me that Americans can have such an ego and just want to be dumb. I'm like, I have an ego enough to not want to be dumb, to not be shown my ass. Which is why I came to communism, because once you really reach a certain level, once you reach level 90, you really just see the framework. Like it comes to a point when you reach level 60, level 70, you don't even really need to have read every theorist to kind of be able to predict things now. America be the greatest country in the world, but it's rampant racism and bigotry against everyone who isn't situated white that's holding us back. That's identity politics. Class conflicts, all conflicts are class conflict. And this is not class reductionism in the slightest. I think a lot of Americans get stuck in the idea that a lot of Americans get stuck. I call it identity politics because so many Americans, this is when I see somebody's probably stuck in level 20s, level 30s. They're not even an ultra yet. When they think the average American's racialist vitriol stops them from being class aligned. I've had jobs with many races. I'm sure most black people have, but at the end of the day, we're both trying to get our check and pay our rents because we have, we both have our material interests aligned. That's how it works. That's how it works. Most people can agree with each other if their material interests align. That's reality. There's always going to be, there's in a perpetually changing society, when there's a different zeitgeist or a different social, when there's a different zeitgeist or a different a social phenomenon, you always have to find the anchor, and that's what material interests are, what people need to be able to do in their day to day. One day people are gonna hate blondes. Maybe it'll be the redheads. But we'll anchor society together, is making sure that everybody's material interests align, and people can people prosper within the society. And it will come to a point where once we hit that abundance period in the future, or if I could say in the present, it'll come to a point when people's material interests align, that bigotry washes away. At one point, yes, Cuba had homophobia, but it became once people's material interests were fixed. Cuba was the first to have legalized gay marriage in the Western Hemisphere. Before the USA, before Canada, before any other country. Because eventually when people's material interests are fixed, they stop being bigots. They realize they don't have to focus on all this other stuff. They don't have to think, oh, this person's taking my job, oh, this person is ruining our society because, oh, I could get my teeth fixed. I'm not an asshole anymore. Doesn't China hurt the global south also? Oh my God, there's some level 10. No, it doesn't. Are you gonna say China is doing a debt trap? No, it's not. China has forgiven every single debt, has every single loan that is given to African countries. China has helped Ethiopia build a bullet train, their first satellites. That's all China. The reason African countries are in space is because of China. The reason Burkina Faso has its first indigenous EV company is because of Chinese loans, which they forgive. It's the idea that all Chinese quote unquote American propaganda about China is like, oh no, but China's actually like us. China is America. Like that's why they're bad. China's actually America. It's like projection. They're like, oh my God, I hate this country, but the idea of another country somehow replacing us as the global hegemon is so scary. I have to essentially project like, no, I actually see what China's doing. They're the new America. That's the only reason I can explain why they're so big, instead of the idea that a better world is possible. And when you actually treat the working class like human beings, they actually stand together and create the impossible, which is why the peasants in the USSR were able to go from space in 60 years. Doesn't China get their minerals from China also? There's a thing though. China doesn't go out there and exploit. You know what China does? They go with intellectuals. You know what China doesn't do? Set up 100 military bases from the north, south, east, west direction of a country. You know how many America has over 100 military bases that surround the Congo. Then they'll fly into the Congo and want to make a mineral deal. How is that meeting people at the same negotiating table? Why are they doing that though? Probably look after their own self-interest. Duh, they're called a nation state. But they don't do it with a rifle with a nation's forehead. Nobody forgives loans just because they're nice. What? Oh my God. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. This is so cooked in the brain. Okay. If you really think like that, if you truly believe, oh no, humans are actually monsters. Humans will never be good people. If you actually think like that, okay, then let's think in the actual business mindset. China is the #1 exporter in the world. It is to their interest that they have more markets to sell to. It is their interest that Africa is uplifted because then they can sell more products to them. Not just tier 1 products, but tier 2. For example, if an African country still doesn't have a growing industry, they can get tier 2 products like a tractor from China. So they need to be uplifted for them to be able to have mechanized agriculture. So it is to China's benefit that Africa is uplifted, is uplifted, because then they can give them more stuff and they become an open market. That is socialism in action. It is not to China's benefit that there are more poor countries. China wants more uplifted countries. That is their self-interest. And guess what? It doesn't involve having a military base surrounding your country. Jesus. Like, this is not hard to understand if you understand basic economics. Like, we can do away with the idea like, oh yeah, humans are actually monsters. I'm like, no, if you actually understand like basic economics, which is what socialism is, it's an economic science. You understand the benefit of this system. You're looking out, you're seeing you're seeing mutual benefits. It's a long-term game. You see things in long terms, while capitalism is perpetually stuck into short-term thinking of Q2s, Q3s, Q4s, because every quarter they have to make more and more money, which is why people get fired, which is why people are getting fired so often, and they have scapegoats like illegal immigrants or black people, or sorry, not black people, DEI. Because the easiest way to show that you're making more money every quarter is to either have quote unquote inflation or just fire people. It's the easiest way to have a quota instead of making your product better, you know, which is actually what they don't do. They'll cut down on material. That's another way to show that you're making more money each quarter. But you could just fire people. And then you could, so people don't gain class consciousness, you blame the illegals. Which is why it all comes back to class conflict. Anything else is a strategy to overshadow the idea that all conflicts are class conflict. That is the history of human beings. Guys, I'm taking another pause. There's not going to be another rant until I see another stream in this song. We're at 103 streams. Can we get much higher? Raise your hand in the chat. Raise your hand in the chat right now. Do the hand emoji if you stream the song while watching me. Raise your hand. Raise your hand in the chat. I want to see the hand emojis. Raise your hand that you played the song. I know damn well some of these talkative motherfuckers in the chat right now are not raising their hands right now. Let's go. I'm gonna start calling out names here. Your Uncle Kevin, did you play the song? I'm gonna start calling out names. I'm like a teacher in class right now. I'm gonna start calling out names. What's going on, gang? Are we comrades or not? We're comrades or not, gang? Bebe, we're calling out name Bebe. Did you listen to the track? Mr. Happy, did you listen to the track while I'm ranting? Aya, Absurd Great Jedi, I'm calling out names, gang. We're raising hands. Let me see them hands. Let me see the hands. Malcolm, Cabrad Cuts, Treasure, Delta, what's going on? What's going on? Are we not comrades? What's going on now? God damn, you guys got me yelling. Uncle Kevin just... Okay, that's real. That's real. Shout out to, okay. Bro sent an imager link, bro. This man took a screenshot, uploaded imager, just said to me, okay, your Uncle Kevin's in the clear. That's real as hell. That's real as hell. I appreciate it. Bro doesn't even have Spotify Premium. Bro does not even have Spotify Premium. He's listening from the browser. That's real as hell. That's a comment right there. All right, okay, your Uncle Kevin's in the clear. BMJ, we're calling out names. Nekon Raji. I may give Comrade Cuts a break because I know he's gonna be clipping the hell out of this stream after this, but I'm just saying. I'm smelling some lack. I'm not even telling you guys to pay for anything. Crazy, insane. My God, yo, I don't think I'd ever sell things. Honestly, this is why I can never get into sales jobs. I'll tell about retail. I'll tell people to get discounts at other stores. God damn, this protein bar is flapping right now. Oh, I might as well a bit bigger. Oh my God, this protein bar is slapping right now, guys. I need the energy. Your boy's ranting. Yo, we have not been playing Marvel Rivals. I gotta put this to just chatting. Wow. I'm gonna get banned from Twitch if I do that. You know you get banned from Twitch if you don't actually like show gameplay? Like, for a certain amount of time in your stream? Crazy, right? I don't have a PC. If I go to Spotify, I'll have to leave the Twitch stream. No way. Wait, don't you have a PlayStation? You can play Spotify on your PlayStation. You're a YouTube music kind of guy? Younger Government, I was a YouTube music kind of guy in like 2016. When the algorithm was way better than Spotify. Like it was so easy for me to find underground artists on YouTube Music for a minute. Then it just got worse. Also, thank you TikTok gang for getting us to 4,400 likes on the TikTok stream. Very dummy demure super science. I feel like I'm yelling at my students. I actually am a teacher. Guys, I would be a teacher if it paid more. 100%. Actually, that's terrible of me to say, but it's real. I'm trying to build a commune for us, guys. Which is why I'm giving free teaching lessons right now. I'll deadass make a syllabus. I actually could make a syllabus. I'll make you guys read so fucking much. You'd be doing essays and pop quizzes. The blame is me. Just doodle myself, lol. Oh my God, I respect the honesty. We respect the honesty. Leftist worst nightmare reading. I give you guys podcasts. But I actually don't. I can tell when a leftist doesn't read theory. God damn, I was thirsty. I'm drinking a Monster. I'm dehydrating myself. Let me drink some water. God damn. Woo! Refreshing. All right. So, Kamakata, I appreciate the honesty. Your homework, your punishment is that after the stream, you 100% have to do some clips. That is your response. That is your punishment. You're in detention. Okay, wait on. Making clips is not a punishment, but having to make more than like 2 or 3, that's the punishment. I'm expecting like 10, 15 funny ass clips, comrade Cuts. That is your punishment. But I appreciate the honesty, which is why I'm not telling you to do 20. Feed the Riches on my PS4 right now. Let's go. Shouts out to BMJ. Shouts out to BMJ. Run that shit on repeat. Hey, why's there, bae? Oh no, what's our fate? I know you, Miss Bliss. All right, so back to my rant. So what were we talking about? So we were talking about in order to hit the level 80s and level 90s, guys, look at this, I'm smart. So in order to hit the level 80s and level 90s, you have to be able to understand how to put this dialectical materials framework within America as it does. Somebody brought the I think it was Thebe who brought up the important idea that I think America is too bigoted and too racist for that to happen. I think this is another problem with it's looking through a framework of identity politics and missing the point of people's material interests. Many of us have worked with people that we don't like. I have worked alongside races many black people have. That's probably more the norm than not. But people align on material interests. Like people face a base reality that at the end of the day, they just need to pay their rent. And I think a lot of what you get trapped into a liberal mindset or an idealist mindset when you think people's racist vitriol will somehow cloud them from the fact of material interests. Like it's like the movie Civil War, and people were like, how could California and Texas align? I'm like, because their material interests align. That's how it works in like real life. People aren't just thought zombies. They have needs, and most of the needs are actually quite simple, especially when it comes to the working class. Can they get food on the table? Are their kids safe? Do their kids have a future? And will they be alive to be able to make sure all that happens? That can be broken down to healthcare, education, job security, food security. Like it's like humans are quite simple. Like Marx has a great quote saying that nothing that's human should be alien to you. Like it's very, humans are very understandable. We're all similar. We're just separated by circumstances. We're all very similar. It's honestly like when you get into the theory of Marxist Leninism, it's very much like a hope doctrine. It's very positive. Like it's truly like, if you had to be a quote unquote religion, it's really an uplifting of like the true nature of humanity. Because most arguments of human nature are bullshit, but the argument that at the end of the day we're very much a social species and we do inherently like working, and we like working together. And our frustrations come when we don't feel rewarded for the labor that we put in, which is what capitalism is, which is what late stage capitalism is doing at this point in time. But yeah, so to get to level 80s and level 90s, damn, I'm spinning bars. Comrade Cuz, remember this. Detention, Comrade Cuts. You already know what you're doing. So to back to level 80, level 90s, which is why like I'm part, is understanding, okay, meeting Americans where they're at now. What is the material reality of America? We live in a very nationalistic nation. Even like people who love America, people like to say, a lot we hate America, but Americans say they hate America as like a cultural artifact. The person who says they hate America loves America in the next second. The most patriotic people in America are immigrants. People really you will never see more patriotism than like somebody who just finally got their green card or finally got their citizenship. Like wanting to be an American is part of American culture. I sometimes make the joke, or it's not really a joke, it's cynical observation that American culture is narcissism, American culture is ego, but that's the material reality of what we're dealing with. And I say this as an example of what made China have such a leg up into capturing the theory of communism to people, is because they already had Confucianism as a connecting factor between the multiple different cultures within China. To this day. So we have to be able to understand what's the material reality of Americans, what's something that connects a lot of Americans. I'm like, a lot of Americans, even if they quote unquote hate America, love being American. That's like something that connects a lot of Americans. We can band together over back-to-back World War II champs. Even the most hardcore leftists will find an American fuck yeah moment within World War II. Like that's something that bonds a lot of us, because we all went through the harrowing trials and tribulations of having seen the Pledge of Allegiance every single morning. Yes, we could. Yes, a new leftist can make fun of it today, but that cultural artifact still sticks with you, and we all went through that. Like you go to Washington D.C. right now, they deify George Washington as if he's quite literally like the creator in Adam Portrait. They deify George Washington. It seeps within every facet of our culture. How the system as it is now has done a very good job to make sure people love America. So we have to meet people as they are now, which is why patriotism, my my Communist Manifesto, my Communist Conclusion, in which I would say communists who have the best understanding of how it will go down in America, which is why I personally joined the ACP, is that patriotism, which is also unironically how it went down in Cuba, how Che Guevara radicalized Fidel, and how Fidel was able to radicalize the masses. Because as I told you earlier, the Cuban Revolution was quite different than other revolutions. The fact that the people had the revolt before they came to the theory, and it was up to the politicians to catch up to the masses. I would say it would be no different. I don't think it would be too dissimilar to America, and how that happened, how the Vanguard Party was able to connect with the masses by connecting with people based on their patriotism. Cubans on Cuba love being Cuban. They have a strong national identity. That's what keeps them loyal to the party. That's why they enjoy the party, because the party is gung-ho about the Cuban national identity, and is able to intertwine that with the idea. It's why they can be so patriotic, but have the most international doctors out of any nation. Because that patriotism within the Cuban culture instills a sense of proudness. We are being blockaded by the largest capitalist superpower in the world, yet we have a higher life expectancy. We're the most well-educated. We have the highest literacy rates. If you're that, like, if the system that the system that your party's had is keeping a bulwark against all of this, and your nation is still going strong, of course you're going to show that off across the entire world and be the best international doctors in the world. Cuba graduates the most doctors per capita in the world. And they're being blockaded by the largest capital superpower in the world to this day. For what reason? For what reason? Patriots. So when you see leftists or quote unquote socialists say like, oh, patriotism is wrong, they're like, those guys are level 40, level 30 maybe. They're not willing to grasp. Also, I think it's also kind of aside from international leftists, because I truly believe there's a lot of people within the international community a lot of leftists in the international community who fear the idea of the socialist communist revolution in America being beholden by patriotism, because they would have to come to the conclusion that there would be there would be no dismantling of the current USA as it is now. It would probably look a lot more similar to USSR. There would be, I think, a lot of leftists I think a lot of leftists or communists or socialists in the global community truly want a balkanized USA. And that wouldn't happen if the framework of a socialist revolution in America was like Cuba, where it was beholden by patriotism. I think that's why there's such a psyop against like the idea of American patriotism. Are you an American patriot? Hell yeah, I'm an American patriot. And what patriotism means to me is that I want my fellow American to be fed. I want them to feel like they actually have control with their society, that they actually have a say, that their needs are being met. I have love for my fellow countrymen, because I'm happy when my neighborhood is happy. That's what makes me a patriot. I want my countrymen to feel fulfilled. I am happy when my community is happy. ACP, 100%. 100%. That is communism. If you don't have love for your fellow countrymen, or you don't want love for your fellow countrymen, you are one, that tells me you haven't read theory. You don't have a material grasp of the situation in hand. You're probably perpetually online. You don't actually talk to people. You have like an idealistic idea of like socialism and communism, how it actually work. Yeah. Oh my God, sorry. I like a massive burp. Hold on, I'm about to burp again. Thoughts of CJ and Christian drama? I don't know who that is. You guys just say names like I'm not online like that, guys. I read. I've seen a lot of leftists to credit the ACP. Yeah, those guys are level 30, level 40. They're the same leftists who say, oh, patriotism is bad. I'm like, yeah, you're level 30, level 40. You're damn near an ultra. You are perpetually online. You just want to be contrarian. You truly just want to be a negative person. So they're just a negative. That's why they're level 30, level 40. Actually, not even level 40. I can't even give that. Level 30s. Look it up. What do you read? I just got done with Xi Jinping Thought. Incredibly interesting. I just finished the Communist Horizon. Very good book. Sorry, I've been absent. My kids wanted to partake in the nasty forced relationship with some pyro and kissed if you responded about Bob Avakian. Who's that? And if you responded about Bob Akavian, who's Bob Akavian? Did you say something about that? I think anybody who's super into China has got to be weird. I think you're honestly the most close-minded idiot in the world if you actually think that. If you actually think somebody who's into China is actually weird, then you have such a closed-minded view of the world. I can already guess you've never visited the world. You probably don't know that many languages. You're terrified of the idea of learning more about the world, you're terrified of learning so much about the world because your worldview of the world is so small that the idea that there's a bigger living room quite gives you perpetual soul shock. Nigga, I'm broke. That's what I thought. That's what I thought, my nigga. Also, by the way, my nigga, I'm broke too. You can still go to Mexico, my bro. Walk, nigga. I just don't like China that much because you don't know anything about it. You're scared about you're scared about ghost stories. You're scared about goosebump stories. Cuba's cool though. Yeah, why? Why? Because they what? What? For why? Because you don't know anything about China. You probably don't know anything about Cuba because because the only reason Cuba's around to this day is because of China. You know who powers it? You know who keeps the lights on in Cuba to this day? It's a giant 15-mile long solar array given to the Cuban people by China for free. You don't know anything about Cuba. You don't know anything about China. It's crazy. I guess you don't like China that much, but you say Cuba is cool. They're the same people, same doctrine. The government system of China and Cuba are actually probably one of the most similar when it comes to the actual governmental bodies. It's crazy. On TikTok earlier, who's this? Bog Avakian. Let's see. Damn, they go over China. Honestly, it's low-key kind of race baity the way you're saying this over China. What do you know about China besides what the FBI and CIA has told you? Besides right-wing pundits have told you? Besides people who've never been to China has told you? Like if you have to be like that, then you have some preconceived notion that you can't get rid of. There's something in your brain telling you like, no, China has to be bad. But bro, what do you mean over China, bro? It's over people. All right, let's see. That's not RCA. The real RCA is based. Bob Akavian, a radically different leader, a whole new framework for human and space spaceship, is the most important political thinker and leader. Oh, I'm not. I don't know who this is, so this isn't true. I'm sorry. No, I be reading people. Ain't no way. Most important political thinker and leader in the world today. That's a cooked headline. That's not RCA. The real RCA is based. Like, I'm sorry, if you want to call yourself a socialist and communist and you don't perpetually have critical support for every communist socialist nation within the party today, I'm sorry, you're perpetually level 30. Rev comms. Our person just really care that much. Like, cool, they exist, but other than that, then what's the point of even saying anything? Why add into the discourse that only helps the matters that make life harder for the perpetually underclass? Why even participate? What was that inclination? It's crazy. Critically analyze that. Let's see. BA is a revolutionary. Basis up. This guy's a revolutionary. What did he do? And Mao's. I know what this guy's about. A Maoist philosopher in America. This is like the new left bullcrap. He worked with Black Panthers in what capacity? His father's Armenian, huh? I'm okay. I'm problematic. I got you. Let's see. As a student at UC Berkeley, I could Ava Kian, Ava Kian. I don't know how to say his last name. My name is MOLOMBO. I have no excuse. How many languages do you speak? I speak 3 languages. I'm trying to pick up 4th. I'm trying to pick up Mandarin. I gotta pick up Spanish. Honestly, if you are a socialist or a communist and you don't know the language, all the languages of all the revolutionary countries, you're cooked. All countries. I know English. I know French. I know Lingala. Those are my 3 languages. I'm trying to pick up Mandarin. I want to pick up Spanish. I'm learning Mandarin right now. I'm trying to pick up Spanish. I want to learn Vietnamese. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah. Like, I think like it's the responsibility of every socialist and communist to learn every revolutionary language. Like, I don't like it to be like, to me, to be level 100 is when you get there. Level 100 is knowing all 5 communist languages right now. And I say French because of the French Revolution inspired them all. Tu ne parles pas le français, ce n'est pas difficile. Tu prends le français, c'est vraiment similaire. C'est comme faire les choses avec l'anglais, hein. Beaucoup les mots dans anglais, c'est la même chose dans le français. Tu connais, c'est comment on dit ça, c'est comment tu écoutes mon accent, ce n'est pas bien, hein? J'ai pas français avec l'accent américain, tu vois. Yeah, I got that French on lock. I got that French on lock. Never question my religion. Never question my religion. What 3 languages do you know, Allison? Spit that. Flex on me. Flex on me. This is the MOLOMBO live stream. We have egos. We flex. If you can brag, you brag on this live stream. Because this damn capitalist system will want to make socialists and communists feel small, want to make leftists feel small. I'm like, no. If you've already come to this way of thinking, you're not level 1 anymore. Have ego. Don't debate. Bully. Be proud of what you have accomplished. God damn it. English, Spanish, and Portuguese. Damn. I want to learn Portuguese, but not for any communist reason, just to talk to Brazilian baddies. That's my toxic behavior. What's up? What, you're religious? I'm hella religious. No, I'd say I'm like culturally religious. I'm like culturally Catholic, but I don't believe in the idea of a metaphysical God. I think that's a little for me. Had to switch to avoid the Twitch ad breaks. Clips may be interrupted. It's okay. After the stream ends, guys. Oh, okay, guys. Quick pause. There are 12 people watching the TikTok stream. There are 4 people watching the Twitch stream. There is 1 person on YouTube. Hey, 1 person on YouTube. How are you doing? Open up your Spotify. Run the stream with a song, because we're currently at 150 streams right now. We're not ending the stream until we get to 1,000. Please support your fellow comrade. I'm not telling you to buy anything. I'm just telling you to stream the song. Like, you don't even, like, you can just go to your PC, your PlayStation, open a Spotify app, just put it on repeat, and just come back here and chill. Appreciate the support. What song? It's called Feed the Rich. It's my new track. It's quite literally how this song started it's quite literally I made my communist manifesto into a song. Like, I had a hella long manifesto, and I realized it could actually be a bop. It's called Feed the Rich. Can you see it now? I always say religion's idealist. That's ideal. When you talk about idealism, you think of idealism in the framework of reality. Idealism is like, oh, an ultra is saying like, oh wait, China has millionaires, they're not real socialists. I'm like, what do you think communism is not a genocide doctrine. It doesn't mean just, you have a certain amount of money, you die. No. It's actually giving rules. Telling like, no, you're not allowed to, in this certain class can't have control over the masses. That's not right. That doesn't make economic sense. That's like idealism. It's not understanding the true material reality. Because you can't just say, we're gonna just eliminate an entire class of people, because that's genocide, guys. Would you say China's imperialist? Absolutely not. What What colonies does China have? What capital is it exporting to these colonies? What CEOs are being uplifted? What CEOs are being uplifted by this exporting of capital? What? Like that's it. Those are all the bullet points for a country to be imperialist. China does not feel any of those markers, and neither did the USSR at its peak. There is two RCA, the one Bob runs versus the one that was formerly IMT International Market. They say I don't. The fact that there's that much drama in RCA, Goofy, just join the ACP, bro. It's much simpler. That's crazy, bro. I'm not even gonna touch that. I'm not even gonna touch that. You need like that's literally like that's like the type of stuff that got me so put off about the Indian communist history. I'm like, bruh, at that point, yo, like you need to do a whole fresh restart. Like that's like crazy. What capital is getting exported to Africa? Goofy, I know you're smart, bro. Just think about it. Does what you're saying align with FBI and CIA propaganda? What capital? I can go to the Congo right now. I won't see one Chinese store. I truly not. Burkina Faso, for example, just started their first indigenous EV company within the nation. You know what I don't see in Burkina Faso? I don't see fuck guys. What's the Chinese car? What's the Chinese car? BYD. I don't, you know what I don't see Burkina Faso? I don't see BYD suddenly in the market in Burkina Faso to compete against a Burkina Faso indigenous EV company. They're building infrastructure in precious metals. And you know what's the great thing about building infrastructure in a nation that didn't have it before? You get less and less kids in the Congo who are building out mines with their bare hands. They actually have a mechanized, they actually have a mechanized unit. And when it comes to a lot of these deals that China does with actual intellectuals instead of the 100 military bases that surround the country of the Congo, like America likes to do when it comes to their quote unquote meeting at the table negotiations. Like the biggest problem with the Congo, especially with these deals, is that the China will come into the Congo. Like, let me give an example. There was an event in the Congo called the Deal of a Lifetime, where China came and they promised the Congolese government, like, hey, if we can build infrastructure within this mining field, we will give you $1.2 billion for your education, for your healthcare system, for all these things. This was called the Deal of a Lifetime. There was the term limit was 10 years, but they had a limited time to push this back. No, was it 1.2 billion? Sorry, I'm exaggerating. I think it was closer to half a bill. It was like half a bill. You know what ended up happening? The corrupt politicians in Congo pocketed half the money. They said yes to the deal, but they ended up pocketing half the money. And to this day, China still just forgives it for a loan because they promised to they would put the money to schools and that China would build roads for free so that it was easier for workers to go from the mine back to their homes, that they would have mechanized units, so there were no longer children being paid less than 25 cents per hour to actually dig out the minerals. There was actually be mechanized units. China had stipulations that there had to be a certain age group that worked there because China doesn't make shady deals like, we don't have liability at this. They actually have like a sense of morality about who does what within the mines that are quote unquote like they're working in. But as capital being exported, no. Capital being exported is not imperialism. Wait, hold on. Okay. There are investments being made to uplift a global South country. The capital isn't being extracted from that global South country into a CEO's pockets, which is downgrading the quality of life within that nation as well. We can compare it to how the West usually exports capital to the global south or Africa, for example. The West has something called oh my god, adjustment plans, state adjustment plans, adjustments, WTO. I know Africa, adjustments. No, let's see. It's called no, not tariff adjustments. It's called adjustments. What's the word? Adjustments. What's the word? Adjustments. Something. Adjustments. God, there's so many things in my brains, guys. I have to like. It's like I'm going through like a Rolodex in my brain. Adjustments. It's like Lenin defines it as imperial is better than anything the West is doing. Have you read Lenin? Yes, I've read Lenin. What the hell? Yes, I've read State and Rev twice, back to back. What the hell? You can't even reach level. You can't even reach level 40 if you haven't read. No, you can't even reach level 40 if you haven't read State and Rev. All right, you know what? Hold on. I have a good. Let's see, on imperialism. Let's see. Hold on, let me just actually pull up like.
China is not colonizing anyone.
Yeah, hold on. Let me just. Because I'm talking to Americans about Africans and Americans are questioning it. I'm just gonna pull up. Let's just see, like, and as an African American, Secretary of African, let me just. This is an African leader talking about Africa. We're just gonna look.
Colonizing anyone. Europe held a conference to discuss how to colonize Africa, took a resolution collectively. China has not done so. They came to Africa not to do business. They came to Africa to colonize. That was their mission. China's mission is different. They're coming to do business in Africa. And I know that many people ask that question. China is doing business in Africa. I think it's going to depend to how Africa does business with China. That's the main thing. But you cannot equate the two. I think it's a wrong equation to say China is now coming to colonize Africa. Not at all. China has come to develop. It has brought better development in a short space of time than what the colonialists did in decades, if not centuries.
There's one.
In 2008, I was very close to a friend of mine was a part of the preparation for a delegation from Kenya to visit the U.S. And the Kenyan Speaker of Parliament requested a meeting with then Speaker Nancy Pelosi. That was before this. I had water, anyway. And when the Kenyan delegation requested a meeting with Speaker Pelosi, they were told. I don't know if it's Speaker Pelosi herself who told them, but.
Goofy White says, I've seen this. It is good and better than IMF. It is finance capital, though. I'm going to keep playing this for people who haven't seen this, though. If you let me know, have you guys seen this? Who hasn't seen this in chat? Be vocal, be vocal. Or I'll just exit out. Okay.
They were told by staff that Speaker Pelosi meets with heads of state, not speakers from Kenya. So there's that. I returned to Liberia, and in 2010, I was an aide in the president's office, just like a regular aide, guy who takes notes. And I accompanied the foreign minister of Liberia to China on a visit. It wasn't even like a state visit, it was an official visit. And we went to China, and so up to today, I don't know what the Beijing airport looks like, just because we didn't use we didn't come in like regular people. Like, we were taken off the plane from when the plane landed, and we didn't see anything until we were in our hotel room, because, it's an official delegation. There is something about how the Chinese would treat African delegations, regardless of how small the country is, in terms of how weak the country is in terms of its power, that such a treatment most African countries would not get in any European capital. But more importantly, me and the foreign minister of a small country like Liberia, by then we were like around 3.8, 3.9 million people. Our foreign minister met with Xi Jinping. By then he was vice president of China, and the only reason we didn't meet with
This is we always respect Big BDE Xi Jinping the chat. Sorry, I gotta pause.
Hu Jintao was because John Kerry was visiting China and he was meeting with Hu Jintao at the same time. This was the quality of representation in terms of how the Chinese treated a small African government. If you are an African policymaker and you stand back and think about it, what about this relationship make you not embrace what the Chinese have to offer?
Material analysis. Okay. Hold on. We got more. And okay, let's talk about what Goofy Wise brought up. It's like USA exporting its production in China. Right? He said it's still finance capital. He said it's still finance capital. Let's read this article from Medium. This is one of my favorite articles for Medium. I reference this a lot when I'm talking to you guys, but we'll read it out. Hold on, let's play this song in the background. Can't stop. We're trying to get 1,000 stream, guys. All right. The article called "Categorically Debunking the Claim That China is Imperialist." The idea that China is an imperialist power is a very useful ideological tool for the propagandists of the US empire. It morally justifies Washington's attempts to continue dominating the world through invasions, coups, and economic warfare. Let's go, Comrade Kuntz! Hold on, let's go. Awesome. Sorry, gonna restart a bit. But shouts out to Comrade Kuntz. Thank you so much for supporting your comrade. This is true solidarity, guys. Not telling you to buy anything. Just play the song on repeat. Truly helps a lot. Dub Cruise. All right. Okay, the idea that China is an imperialist power is a very useful ideological tool for the propagandists of the US empire. It morally justifies Washington's attempts to continue dominating the world through invasions, coups, and economic warfare by presenting Beijing as an equivalent or worse imperialist oppressor. It also turns many American anti-imperialists away from supporting China by convincing them that this rising anti-US power is just another empire. Rebukes to the China's imperialist meme are usually met with incredulous dismissals, because the people who hold this position usually have deep-seated ideological reasons for treating China as imperialist. One can point out to how China doesn't carry out regime change or use its military to illegally occupy sovereign countries like the US does. But this can be countered by, rightly, arguing this alone doesn't prove China is an imperialist. One can point out to how China has a pattern of forgiving foreign debt, like I said, in contrast to Washington's strategic manufacturing of debt. But this can be countered by pointing out the unsurprising fact that China's loans are initially given out in similar ways similar to Western loans. The impulse among Western chauvinists and quote-unquote anti-authoritarian leftists is to view a rising non-US aligned power like China as an unambiguous villain, so the debate goes in circles. To convincingly prove that China is not imperialist, I'll need to move beyond the rhetorical quips about individual aspects of the issue and show when it comes to the core definition of imperialism, China doesn't fit the criteria. So what is the definition of imperialism? He's going to go through Lenin here. Lenin defined imperialism as the monopoly stage of capitalism, clarifying that such a definition would include what is most important for, on the one hand, finance capital. Hold on, let me read that a bit better. I'll repeat that. Clarifying that such a definition will include what is most important for, on the one hand, finance capital. Finance capital is the bank capital of a few very big monopolist banks, merged with the capital of the monopolist associations of the industrialists. And on the other hand, the vision of the world is to transition from a colonial policy, which has extended without hindrance to territories unseized by any capitalist power, to a colonial policy of monopolist possession of the territory of the world, which has been completely divided up. As Lenin acknowledged, this briefest possible definition of imperialism is only adequate when the specifics around it have been also articulated. For an economic relationship to be imperialist, he concluded, there are 5 requirements. That monopolies play a decisive role in economic life. Yo, thank you, Thick Wrong, for subscribing on the Twitch. Comrade solidarity, thank you for the sub, gang. Let's go. All right, sorry guys. Okay, we're gonna have to retry that back. As Lenin acknowledged, this briefest possible definition of imperialism is only adequate when the specifics around it have also been articulated. For an economic relation to be imperialist, he concluded there are 5 requirements. that monopolies play a decisive role in economic life, that bank capital and industrial capital have merged to form a financial oligarchy, that the export of capital as opposed to the export of commodities takes special importance, that international capitalist monopoly institutions share the world among themselves, and that the biggest capitalist powers decide the divisions of the world. These are the 5 things that require a nation to be imperialist, as defined by Lenin. But the definition we're looking for is even more complex than this. His caveat was that imperialism can and must be defined differently if we bear in mind not only the basic, purely economic concepts to which the above definition is limited, but also the historical place of the stage of capitalism in relation to capitalism in general, or the relation between imperialism and the 2 main trends in the working class movement. The trends he's referring to are what he called the Marxist and the opportunist movements, which, as we will both see, have great relevance to the current debate over China. I quote Lenin's definition of imperialism because it included acknowledgments of the historical circumstances that must factor into whether a power can be judged as imperialist. As we'll see, the view that modern China is imperialist stems both from an exaggerated perception of how much China fits the economic criteria of imperialism and a failure to consider the historical context which defines China's foreign policy and the internal economic system. So, does China fit this definition? At least within the leftist circles that view China as imperialist, the core argument is that China's inclusion of large corporations within its economy makes it dominated by monopolies, and that this makes it fit the kinds of criteria for imperialism which Lenin mentioned. But in terms of the country's overall economic structure, it's hard to argue that these corporations make up a decisive role. Nearly 70% of the 119 Chinese firms featured on the Fortune Global 500 list are state-owned, and the 12 biggest Chinese companies are government-owned. The state maintains control over heavy industry, energy, finance, transport, communications, and foreign trade, which are the most important aspects of the economy. Private production is encouraged by the state only because it spurs technological development, employment, and modernization. Marx said it himself, capitalism was better than the previous system of feudalism because a capitalist economic structure is good at innovation. What China does is controls it. Private production is incredibly limited. To continue on the article, China also can't be considered a financial oligarchy. The Chinese government's propensity for imprisoning, we said this before, China imprisons 40% of their billionaires. The Chinese government's propensity for imprisoning and in many cases executing wealthy industrialists reflects the fact that despite its capitalist market reforms, the PRC is still a worker state. How many billionaires get executed in America? How many billionaires go to jail in America? The number rhymes with Nero. The Communist Party of China is extraordinarily popular among the people it governs, because as mandated by China's democratic process, the CPC primarily serves the interests of the people. Its vast social safety net has all but eliminated Chinese poverty, and China has become the global leader in environmental protection due to its socialist state intervention. These facts about China's internal governmental structure are relevant towards proving why China is not imperialist, because they show that its role in the world isn't driven by a desire to serve bourgeoisie interests. This is apparent because China's internal prioritization of public economic control is reflected by its external prioritization of state socialist loans. The vast majority of China's foreign loans are not capitalist investments, but rather government funds that have in many cases been used to free countries from the grip of imperialism. But China's existence gives the global South, and specifically Africa that we're talking about, a different option than the WTO and the stranglehold and the debt traps that the West has to offer. And they're loan free. I can send a link in Twitch. You can actually hit links in Twitch. The vast majority of but rather government for that in many cases but rather government funds, I'll read it again. The vast majority of China's foreign loans are not capitalist investments, but rather government funds that have in many cases been used to free countries from the grip of imperialism. In addition to China's having provided Laos with the equivalent of 32 million in interest in free credits in 2013, which has helped Laos overcome its debt slavery to the International Monetary Fund, the IMF. China has forgiven nearly $10 billion in debt because of China's long-term, like I said earlier, China's long-term best interest that as the biggest exporter in the world, that countries are uplifted. I'm Brownbeard. Thank you so much for joining the Twitch gang. Let's go. Shout out to Brownbeard. Let's get it. Let's go. Because it's China's best interest. It is not in China's. It is not part of China's foreign policy to have people in debt trap. It doesn't benefit them at all. It doesn't uplift the country. It goes against both their internal economic conclusions and their foreign policy. They're different from the INF. All right, to continue. So China's forgiven nearly $10 billion in debt. Forgiven means gone, zilch. You don't have to pay it. It's done. You don't have to pay it. Cuba, back to Cuba. Why? If you like Cuba, you have to like China. Cuba accounts for over half of this forgiven debt. I'll say that again. If you like Cuba, you have to like China. Because Cuba, after the fall of the USSR, its biggest trading partner, is still around today because China has given them over $5 billion and said, yo, you're our socialist brothers, you don't have to pay it back. Fuck that blockade. Fuck that blockade. Yo, could you drop the link for the article? Yeah, I got you. Cuba, again, Cuba borrowed over $5 billion from China, and China said, bro, you're good. You're good with me. Fidel, that's my boy. See my new TikTok on stream, though? After this article, okay. So, China-Cuba accounts for over half of this forgiven debt, a development which has made the country better equipped to overcome Washington's economic embargo. I try to say blockade more often because some right-wing people will be like, oh, it's not an embargo. No, it's a naval blockade that it is a naval blockade, and it's an embargo. It's not an embargo in the typical sense. It's an embargo in the fact that if you're, for example, if you're a foreign business, or if you're any business and you trade, for example, if you're a company from France and you ship any product to to Cuba, you know what happens? You're not allowed to trade with America for the next 2 to 5 years. They're able to change the stipulations. Imagine you're a foreign business. Oh, you can't trade with America, you will fail if you're already in the international sphere. So they just don't trade with Cuba. That's what happens. So it is an economic embargo when that's the consequence. Let's see. Which made the country better equipped to overcome Washington's economic embargo. In a 2005 presentation to the Congressional U.S.-China Commission, U.S. State Department official Princeton Lyman assessed how China's model of social state loans don't serve the function of profit. This is somebody from the U.S. State Department saying, even admitting to the fact that China isn't doing debt traps, isn't doing anything similar to what they're doing. His name is Princeton Lyman? What a name. Okay. Princeton Lyman says from the U.S. State Department, China utilizes a variety of instruments to advance its interests in ways that Western nations can only envy. Most of China's investments are through state-owned companies whose individual investments do not have to be profitable if they serve overall Chinese objectives. Thus, the representative of China's state-owned construction company, Ethiopia, could reveal that he was instructed by Beijing to bid low on various tenders without regard for profit. I'll read that again. So a representative of China's state-owned construction company, a state-owned construction company in Ethiopia, that he can bid as low as possible. He could bid as low as possible. So the local Ethiopian locals could be like, wait, you guys are trying to charge us like $10 for all this stuff. We can only do $3. That guy in the company would be like, okay, we can do $3. Because there's no individual CEO saying like, no, I got to get my Q2, Q3, Q4 up. There's no CEO trying to get his cut of the profit. It doesn't work like that in a socialist state. They can completely just listen to the local populace. That's why there is no quote unquote, even with that small example, there's no imperialism. There's no exporting of capital. If no CEO trying to hunt his cut of the profit. Okay, so read that again. Thus, the representative of China's state-owned construction company in Ethiopia could reveal that he was instructed by Beijing to bid low on various tenders without regard for profit. China's long-term objective, or what are people saying? Let's see. The embargo against Cuba is genocidal. It prevents food and medicine from getting to the country. What a name for real. Yeah, for sure. Appreciate it, bro. I got you, Brown Beard. So China's long-term objective in Ethiopia is an access to future natural resource investments, not in construction business profits. It is to China's benefit that Ethiopia is uplifted, so when it comes to their natural resources, everything is smooth. They're not worried about internal conflicts. They're not worried about having to pay their debt, because a country that's worried about paying their debt is a country in turmoil, is a country always completely destabilized. That is not to China's benefit. It is to the benefit of Western capitalists, because then they can because they're already implemented military bases, and their other ways of restricting resources are actually, hold on, I'm giving a way more complicated example. If a country can't control its resources, then they don't have control over the fundamental price. So they always have to be beholden to the bigger nation. But China's like, no, we're making this an equal ground. You guys we're gonna make sure you guys are stabilized, because we prefer you guys get the price as you want, but at least things are smooth. Versus the Western capitalists who likes to destabilize Congo, because then they don't have to be they don't have to spend more on production or have to spend more on material resources. The average iPhone would be, I like to use the example that the average iPhone would be $3,000 under a capitalist market price if the Congo had control over its resources, because the capitalists would try to figure out a way to still profit over having to spend so much on the resources. Socialist revolution will happen in America for a while. My opinion is where capitalism's last stand. I don't think that's necessarily true. I think I truly believe we're gonna see a socialist revolution in our lifetime. The contradictions are too wide in America. Like, if you read the history, all the conditions are coming very close, but that could be another article. So, okay, to continue on. Despite recent claims that China has been using its companies to engage in neo-colonialism throughout Africa, the situation Lyman assessed has continued to be the case throughout the last 15 years. As I mentioned in past writings, China's investments do not meet the definition of neo-colonialism. Chinese enterprises help the job markets abroad rather than only employing Chinese workers. China hasn't been engaging in land grabs in Africa, and China isn't working to trap African nations in debt. In accordance with China's not engaging regime change, China has also never favored any government for its form or ideology. Charges of imperialism and neocolonialism have been used to delegitimize numerous other facets of Chinese foreign policy. Anti-China commentators have claimed China is seeking imperialist domination over the South China Sea, even though China has only been protecting its own commercial lifeline from US imperialism. Some pro-Western figures have accused China of neo-colonialism in Hong Kong, even though essentially all that China has been done to Hong Kong in the last several generations is freed from British colonialism. Similar claims have been made about China's efforts to influence Tibet and Taiwan, even though China hasn't suppressed the religious freedom of Tibetans, and even though Chinese socialism would be the perfect replacement for Taiwan's bourgeoisie democracy. The two government policy within China is what he's referring to. The two economic system policies is what he's referring to. Whatever criticisms of China's foreign policy that can be made, they don't amount to proof that China is imperialist. The fact that China makes efforts to ensure that its companies are profitable abroad doesn't equate to a colonial project, and certainly not to an imperialist one. The country doesn't fit Lenin's 5 criteria for imperialism, and the one that it arguably does perpetuate, which is the prioritization of exporting capital over exporting commodities. That's what you were saying, Goofy. The country, and the one that arguably does perpetuate, which is the prioritization of exporting capital over exporting commodities, isn't used by China to subjugate the countries which it gives funds to and invests in. Key right there. The finance capital isn't being used to subjugate the country. Okay, so Cobalt Mine, China slave, social imperialist. I feel like if you say that to somebody who is Congolese, check the flag, you're practicing bad faith. You will never go to Africa. You don't give a fuck about those cobalt mines. Never say that in your mouth ever again. You don't care about those child slaves. Its core economic practices and global ambitions massive. Its core economic practices and global ambitions, massive capital export monopolist. Yeah, this is word salad. What are you trying to say? Its core economic practices and global ambitions, massive capital export, monopolistic corporations. Did we pass over how there's no monopolistic corporations? Its core economic practices and global ambitions. Its core economic practices are socialist, and China has a publicly available foreign policy. It is not similar to the West. Let's see. One of the key distinctions between thoughts on the ACP. I'm part of the ACP. One of the key distinctions, I think the ACP has the closest understanding of the material conditions of Americans and how the Americans actually think. The only way for a socialist revolution to be successful within America is very similar to Cuba. You have to align Americans on their patriotism and love of their fellow countrymen. That's the only way it's possible. And too many leftist parties are too involved with identity politics and not understand that material fact. I think as I said earlier before, I think it's very much. One, I think international socialist economists, they very much want to balkanize USA, and they fear the idea that if there was a patriot-backed socialist revolution in America, it would just be a USSA, a United Social States of America. And I think that's a fantasy for them. So all that doesn't fit Lenin's description perfectly to the state's role, but its core, what is its core? Its core is socialist. Its core is that 70% of the state, 70% of the top. 70% of the top companies are all state-owned. That private corporations are heavily controlled. That billionaires face consequences. That there's no CEO being able to export his capital. That there's no profit motive. Hold on. Hold on. Before I reach out again, I'm losing track of the article and the sauce. One of the key distinctions between China and America's foreign economic involvement is that there's no evidence of China wanting to secure resources for profit. He's pretty much about to answer what I was going to say. State capital governed by a communist party. Yeah, that's socialism. You can't let capital run amok. This is one of the first phases for us to be able to enter socialism is that capital has to be controlled, because capital, Marx and himself, capital will run amok. You eliminate a Jeff Bezos, another one will pop up unless that is controlled by a working class party. Like, capital will always exist within a market framework, which is the material reality that we live in today. That's just an acknowledgement. We can't live with the idea. It's flirting with idealism. If there's this some sort of reality where we don't live in a market society. We live in a market society now, so we have to come to terms with how do we adapt the science to our reality. We live in a global capitalist structure. How do we implement the socialist science within a global capitalist structure? One of the key distinctions between China's and America's foreign economic involvement is that there's no evidence of China wanting. I'm glad you agree with that. That's fire. One of the key distinctions between China and America's foreign economic involvement is that there's no evidence of China wanting to secure resources for profit. The other key difference, that's pretty much like what I was saying. The other key difference, as demonstrated by the former, is that China doesn't artificially raise prices through monopolies, like I said, to attain super profits. That's, again, a very core social structure. This all makes a apparent line between the world's imperialist powers in the US and NATO alliance, and between China and its ally, Russia, which are both independent countries that are merely trying to trade and invest. The question, if China is an imperialist, how should we view it from a Marxist perspective? I just gotta read the article before I'm spoiling. Okay, the question is, if China is an imperialist, how should we view it from a Marxist perspective? Not all communists and leftists will ever agree that modern China is worth supporting. In spite of all the facts I've mentioned, like I said, in spite of all the facts I've mentioned, it's easy for an anarchist, social democrat, or traditional Maoist to make the argument that China is revisionist or state capitalist. Yet, while not everyone can ideologically support China's incorporation of private industry, at the very least, we must get rid of the perception that China is imperialist. Because if this myth is dispelled, China's true role in the world will be wholly recognized by the anti-imperialist movement. Rather than being a moral equivalent to the United States, China's been furthering the Palestinian cause, military protecting socialist Venezuela from invasion, helping rebuild Syria amid 9 years of Western imperialist assault, financially liberating countries from imperialism, and weakening Washington's foreign primacy in the Indo-Pacific. China may not be directly fomenting socialist revolutions, as many ultras hate, but its efforts to drive the US out from the world are helping to make future revolutions more likely, as are China's economic maneuverings. As the columnist Sayad Bakhtar has written, China's Belt and Road Initiative, shouts out the Belt and Road Initiative, all true solidarity, the Belt and Road Initiative. Oh, wait, what's they saying? Let's see, I may agree with that too. China's Belt and Road Initiative is an operation to shift economic leverage away from the West and therefore away from colonialism itself. Glad you agree with that. Hold on. Oh, what's your opinion on land back as a leftist? I think that's as somebody, I have a great one, but I'm going to finish. I have a great response for that, but my family actually has a connection. So a lot of African tribes have a lot of connections with Native American tribes. For example, my family, we used to let people from the Blackfoot tribe over in, we lived in Colorado. We let people from the Blackfoot tribe over in the Dakotas stay with us like once or twice a year for their basketball tournaments and a lot of like Native events, a lot of First Nation events. Sorry. But there's hold on. Let me finish this article, then I can answer that one, Chillinsville. Also, shout out to you for like, I'm not gonna lie to you, I've become pretty hard at you, and the fact you're still in this live, I gotta respect that a little bit. I gotta respect that a lot. Let's see. Okay, yeah. The columnist Sayag Bakhtar has written. Oh, sorry, guys. Oh my god, my throat. Jesus. As the columnist Sayag Bakhtar has written. Oh wait, hold on. Sorry, guys. Gotta put back this up on. Oh my god, we're at 143 streams. Hell yeah. The China's Belt and Road Initiative is an operation to shift economic leverage away from the West and therefore away from colonialism itself. The Belt and Road Initiative is best understood as the antithesis of colonialism. While colonialism was a Western response to its trade deficit with Asian kingdoms and also to the supremacy of Asian mode of production over Western pre-industrial revolution era production, the Belt and Road Initiative is the response of trade surplus China to the fact that the US share of global GDP is becoming too small to generate demand for Chinese products. Like I said before, it is to China's, as the number one exporter, it is China's benefit that more countries are uplifted. I'll read that sentence again. The Belt and Road Initiative is a response to trade surplus China. China is making so many things. They have such a they've got their market down pat. It's a response to the trade surplus China to the fact that U.S. share of global GDP is becoming too small to generate demand for Chinese products. The Belt and Road Initiative is about sharing resources of rising China with the rest of the world. Before the rise of the West, China was the top global producer, and that period is not associated with colonialism. So China reclaiming back its old position cannot be termed as colonialism. Rather, the Belt and Road Initiative is the antithesis of colonialism. Therefore, from a Marxist, I saw what you said, Chillinsville, I respect that. Therefore, from a Marxist perspective, China is the greatest current engine of change away from imperialism. After the US empire has declined enough, China will emerge as a dominant world power that functions as a peacekeeper rather than as a conqueror. A successful socialist model will set an example for developing nations, and its reshaping of the global economy will empower these nations to act independently. Thank you so much for ML Joey 43. ML, I'm guessing that stands for Marxist. Thank you so much for doing it, Twitch gang. That's fire. Yes, sir. A successful socialist model will set an example for developing nations and a reshaping of the global economy. Well, I really hope some people clip this up after we're done with the stream, guys, because I'm shouting out bars right now. A successful socialist model will set an example for developing nations and the reshaping of the global economy will empower these nations to act independently from declining old imperialist powers. And also, by the way, if you guys, I'll look for this article. China may be a participant in the machine of global capitalism, but any truly nuanced view of its places, wait, I'll read that again. China may be a participant in the machine of global capitalism, but any truly nuanced view of it places it as an anti-imperialist presence. This is the Marxist analysis of China's role in the world, as opposed to the opportunist one that treats China as an unambiguous menace. In 2020, more than ever, siding with China is a position that reflects knowledge of how material conditions shape the potential of socialist revolution. End of article. My hot take, goofy wise, is that China is already the global hegemon, and America. I would say it's America's power of still being a cultural power. giving the average, because to most of the world, if you travel outside the world, if you're a worldly person, it is not a surprising fact to you when I say that to most countries, the United States is a rogue nation. I could give the small example that the BYD is the most powerful EV car globally. To most nations in the world, China is already the global hegemon. America is going to be the last person to admit it. We already live, I would arguably say that we've been living in a Chinese global hegemony since 2012. That's why Obama said there was a shift to Asia. Because DC was coming well with the fact that there would be no Cold War similar to USSR or China. China had one at that point. You can't do Cold War strategies over an existing China, because now the capitalist class within the nation, within the US, don't want to do that with China. Because China has taken a page from Marx's book that capitalism will eat itself. Mao said himself, capitalism is a paper tiger. The billionaires have given away their idea of ever doing a military regime change in China because because China, one, there's no industry coming back to America. No, the most intelligent workforce, most intelligent industrialized workforce is in China. Almost, I would say over 70% of critical computer processing units are all made in China. That's the weakness of the global capitalist system. That's the weakness of the global capitalist system that will make it eat itself. And which what the socialist model is able to harness. If we make ourselves too valuable to the global super capitalist nation in the world, they can't do what they tried to do with the USSR to us. Because now there's an internal fight between within their capital. Marx said in himself that it was either Marx or Lenin, something I get confused with this specific quote, in specific, that not even the capitalists are really aligned with each other. It was Marx. Marx likened capitalists to a roving band of brothers, which is why when people say the Republicans and Democrats are essentially the same team, they're both capitalists, just fighting over what they should invest in. It's green CEOs fighting against oil CEOs fighting against the military industrial complex. They're all capitalists at the end of the day. They'll align over their class interests, which is why it blows my mind that if you're part of the working, like, sometimes I could my controversial quote, sometimes I could forgive billionaires for how they think because they're looking at their class interests. But if you're part of the working class and you try to forgive the billionaires, what the hell? Look into your own class interests. Okay, sorry. Okay, I was spinning. The U.S. empire is on its deathbed, and we're lashing out trying to harm China as much as we can. That's why I say the socialist revolution will happen within our lifetime. China's been the global hegemony. Mark Lenny, thank you so much for the heart me. Because if you look at the like, I think the problem with certain leftists is that it tells you gotta really study how revolutions happen in other countries. You only need, some people say 12%, it's really 10%. You really only need 10% of a real of radicalized masses to really change a country. That's how it was in the USSR, that's how it was in China, that's how it was in Cuba, that's how it was in Laos, and that's how it was in Vietnam. Like, you don't really need that many people. You definitely need the military. That's a common link. When people talk about the masses, I think that's another, this is another one that leftists get wrong, and which why another reason why I joined the ACP. You cannot demonize people in the military. They are the closest to understanding the contradictions of capitalism. I meet so many people within the military. I live right next to a National Guard recruiting center. I've radicalized a lot of National Guard people because I actually talk to them like a person instead of some of these leftists who demonize them for even wanting to go to the military. I'm like, you understand the American military has been running on a poverty draft for the last 50 years. That for a lot of people in towns and places that are devoid of opportunities to uplift themselves, who don't have a viable means of getting education, that the military is their only idea of a path forward. They the idea that they can actually like see other countries, actually they can have an education, a car, a job. This is the only access to a lot of people. The American military has been doing a poverty drive for the last 50 years. So the fact that there are people who dare call themselves leftists demonizing American soldiers for doing something that they feel when they're stuck in a corner, that's just the only way to material uplift themselves. They were looking into their class interest, that they would demonize them. It's so devoid of materialism. It's astonishing. There's been no revolution without the alliance of those within the working class and the military. The military isn't some warrior class or some perpetual middle class. Over $30 million of welfare benefits goes to the military. Understand that. The Black Americans, Black men are overrepresented in the military by 60%. Black women, 200%. Pacific Islanders, 2,400%. How come 1/3 of homeless people in America all have military backgrounds? These are the people you need. And it blows my mind there are people I've met in the PSL, in the DSA, in the CPUSA who will look a veteran in the face and who is picketing with him and tell him he's a bad person for ever joining the military. We're trying to do the best that they can't believe that this person who came from a town that was devoid of any opportunity because the capitalists sucked it dry and left them only a pawn shop and a Walmart, dare tried to uplift themselves. They're the only opportunity that allow them to actually see the world. It blows my mind that there are actual quote unquote socialist parties that would dare do that. I'm like, have you not read the history? How do you think the Bolsheviks were successful? Because they convinced the white army that they were looking after, that the masses had their back. It's crazy. And that's why I say when I talk about what's level 90, what's level 90, level 80 is understanding what does it mean to have the socialist revolution, to have the masses within the American framework. It's radicalizing the last 50 years of the poverty drop that's happening with the military. The masses will be the military within the American framework. The fact that the average pay range within the fact that there's even over 60% of people within the military who get SNAP benefits. If you don't know what SNAP benefits are, it's food stamps. Should give you an idea that no, this is not a warrior class of people who are perpetually within the middle class. This is the propaganda. Don't forget that as recently as 2023, the Navy lowered its requirements to join, and you don't even need a GED anymore to join the Navy. I literally joined because I was homeless. I'm Omanis. Thank you so much for joining the live stream. I appreciate you. Oh wait, we hit our follower goal. What did we hit? Oh my God, yeah, guys, yo, we hit 340. Whoa, we hit 330 yesterday. That's crazy. A creator I follow, Power's Not Taken, is given as a favorite example. A lot of vets and people in the servers are actually left-leaning, even socialists. I 100%, which is why I joined the ACP, because they were the only one that understood that digitization is such a lack of understanding of class struggle. It's such a lack of that. It's idealism to really just not understand that fact, which is why Patriots. Thank you so much, Arskin ML, for the roses. Which is why patriotism is the common bond, because you'll meet a lot of these military guys, and they understand the working class struggle, but I have to meet them where they're at, because they're still too scared of the word communism, but they will align when I tell them about me understanding their place in the world, understanding that we're both fellow Americans, and that fellow Americans should look out for each other, and that these rich people aren't looking out for us. I can align with them on that, which is why patriotism is the common bond between almost every American. That is the unifying material reality for all Americans, and that a lot of people who really want to understand how to apply the Marxist-Leninist science into the material conditions of America have to really understand. Patriotism is the only way for a socialist revolution within our structure. Which is why I joined the ACP. They were the only ones that understood that. And this does not mean disavowing the other ones. Guys, I went everything from calling myself a libertarian, low key I'll tell you guys, if you guys look up my registry role, I'm still registered as a Republican because I can't let the feds know my next move. Don't clip that, the feds can't know. But I do that to psych them out, just in case they try to assassinate me. I went from being a libertarian to even being a hardcore Dem to even join the DSA. I went, and I'm hardcore about what I believe. I'm not Dubois. When I have a mindset, I keep going until I'm proven wrong. And the fact that I'm still communist this long tells me that this is undefeatable. I went from getting as high to the leadership of the Syrian community, the DSA, and realizing they didn't want to be a vanguard party, that, especially when they wanted to endorse Biden. Then I joined the CPUSA thinking this has to be, this is the historical Communist Party of America. And for them to want to endorse Biden, I knew it was cooked. And so when I met Eddie in the ACP and understood they came to the same economic theoretical conclusion, that because I come from middle of America, the average American, like I would say there's two cultures in America. If I had to say there was any identity politics that's apt, is that there are two cultures in America, but it's not race. It's the coastal cities versus middle of America. And there's such a stark difference of culture and reality to these two places. LA, New York, Atlanta, Miami might as well be different countries if you come from middle of America. It is not how other Americans think, and they're a vast majority of Americans. But the common link between middle America and the coastal cities is patriotism. That they all have a common link of loving America in some sort of fashion. And if you were able to link the ethos of working class solidarity that socialism espouses and link with patriotism, you get a lot of people to see where you're coming from. That you want Americans to feel uplifted, to feel like they have a say in their environment. Okay, I'm ranting a lot, but let me see what you guys are saying. Patriotism is a double-edged sword, though, easily can be used for nationalism and imperialism. I think this is when you get into a purity fetish, Goofy Wise. I'm gonna have to come at you. This is when you start getting into purity fetishism. It gets to like close to idealism. The idea of a double-edged sword in just form its framing is a double-edged sword in what way? What is the goal? The goal is to get the masses aligned into their material interests, is to bring up class consciousness. And that is the tool. Oh, dead ass to use Marxist speaking boys, but not the vocab, they'll dead ass agree with you. Revolutionary Communist International, the guy with the wrestler. Yeah, Eddie, with the cauliflower ear. Let's see, ML Joey. Growing up in rural Texas, I have a lot of friends that joined the military because it gave them a free education or could give them a career. We need to reach out to rural Americans because they're on the brink of radicalization, but easily fall into reactionary thinking. And what I'm saying is that most people are going to be reactionary. We got to meet people where they are. Not everybody's going to read a book. Most people will never give a fuck about politics, which is why you have to meet people where they're at and give them the language that they understand. And most Americans, which is why we have come to a material reality that most Americans understand patriotism like that. They understand patriotism like that. So you mix, so you have to give working class, you have to give working class talking points, socialist talking points, communist talking points with the understanding of how they view patriotism and their love of America and wanting to feel as if they can still be a proud of America, or that the American country can love them as well. That's how you have to meet Americans where they're at, because most people are just gonna be reactionary. That's how if you look at everybody's revolution, there's just gonna be reactionary people. But it's the goal of the vanguard party to know how where that reaction is like targeted towards. You get reactionary people, you end up like where it happens, where the leader of the White Army disaffected the Bolsheviks because he saw the masses were just, oh wait, all these working class people are listening to the communists. Well, I gotta listen to the masses. That's reactionary thinking. He's not thinking, he didn't read Marx. He just saw the majority of people that were just like him, but we're aligning with this group of people, so he just did it. That's reactionary thinking. We're just gonna have to deal with that, but it's making sure to understand how we get the masses aligned with the same thing. Like, this is what patriotism is. This is what you would deserve. This is how your government should treat you. This is how a system should treat you. No other way. Other Americans should be, an American system should be looking out for you. You shouldn't have to feel disrespected. Look out for your class interests. And there are a group of people who are not looking out for you because it's within their class interests. Also, I feel like I think it's very strategic language to say that most capitalists are traitors to the nation. That they're very much the word for it. What's the other word besides traitor? But you guys know where I'm getting at. So that's That's level 90, that's level 80. And to be able to get level 100, like I said before, you have to know the language of every communist nation. But yeah, oh my god, guys, I was ranting. Hold on, let me put on some deodorant, guys. I'm sweating. I am not kidding, yo. I was ranting, Kings. God damn. Whoa, my god, you guys just literally listened to my manifesto. So join the acp.us. They're the only ones who got it right, in my personal opinion. They're the closest to it. You have no idea. Guys, I've been a part of larger organizations. The ACP is the only one with actual form of with a lot of military. I'll say that straight up. I've been part of a lot of ML, quote unquote ML groups. I even flirted with the PSL for a bit. ACP, only one with actual socialist minded military and former vets. No other organization has that. They got it right. They understand, like, we have to meet Americans where they're at. So yeah, acp.us. Also, I'm very proud of the fact that I got the ACP to say that within the party structure that W.B. Du Bois is the father of American Marxism. I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm getting a lot of black people in there. Oh my god, guys. Woo! Oh my god, how did we enjoy that rant? If you guys want to look back at the VOD, very much will enjoy any clips of this. That'll be super duper fire. Oh my god. Let's see. Is it time to game now? Can we take a little break, game a little bit, or you guys want to hear more rants? I feel like I had a pretty good conclusion. I said the whole level system. Oh my god, guys. Okay, yo, Comrade Coots, that's what you have to, out of all the things to clip out, there was a huge point in time, but if you can clip out like all the levels to make it cohesive, because if you just clip it, I can make the video. Because when you clip something, I can download it from my end. What are you gaming on? I'm PC. What you mean? I also have a PlayStation right next to me. I was thinking, so we're gonna do some Marvel Rivals and we could play Dragon Age. Or we could play Elden Ring. But Elden Ring kicks my ass. Marvel Rivals, what you, of course, gang, you already know. All right, let's see. Cannon mission, bro, muskets piston, yeah. Oh, by the way, guys, if you haven't yet, if you're watching the stream, please, if you haven't heard me yell at everybody before, if you haven't yet, we are not ending the stream until we get 1,000. That's a little background behind me. We're at 157 streams right now. We're not ending the stream until we get 1,000 streams on this on my Communist Manifesto made into songs called Feed the Rich on Spotify. All you have to do, I'm not telling you to buy anything. You can go to your PC, your PlayStation, your Xbox, go to the Spotify app, go to the song, just put it on repeat in the background. Will help tremendously so we can reach this goal. I'm not telling you to buy anything, just solidarity, support a comrade. Let's get this song up. Let's have a communist song enter the Spotify algorithm. Let's get communist music into people's Discover Weekly. Let's radicalize the masses. Let's go. Rivals got this man by the throat, literally by the throat. And I'm saying yes, daddy, 100%. Do you get money from streams? I really only get money. I get 0.0012. Like, okay, to really put it in perspective, for example, if I were to get a million streams, that's like a million streams is like 4 G's. It's like $4,000. Like that's, so it's like 0.0012. So like if I were to, so for example, if I were to get like 70,000 streams on a song, that's like $70. And that's only if I have 100% of all, that's if I have all 100% of all of royalties. Like I'm not sharing with the producer, I'm not sharing with any features. If I'm like 100% getting all royalties, Yeah, which is why like I if you go into music with the idea of getting rich, like I'm sorry, you're doomed to fail. Like I make music because I love it. Like to me, this is my diary. I feel like besides my rants, I feel like to me, music is the best way for me to able to illustrate how my brain works and how my brain works, how I think, like my thought process at the time, like my emotional state at the time. Like that's why I say this Feed the Rich song was really my communist manifesto made into a song. Like pretty much everything I'm ranting about, you will hear it in the lyrics of the song. I think very hard about my lyrics. I spend at least the minimum 4 days, maximum a month on my lyrics for one song. That's one song. Like I think about how the song, like how the words are placed, what rhymes with what word, how I'm delivering it. Like I think very hard. I do it for the art of it. I love music a lot. I think for me, yeah, it's the clearest way for me to be able to express myself. So yeah, do music, do art for the love of it. Don't do it for the money of it, because capitalism won't benefit you. Unlike places like the USSR where they just gave free funding for artists. Crazy. But yeah, please guys, Feed the Rich on Spotify. Just literally hit that like repeat button. The repeat button, hit it twice so it has that little one symbol on it. Helps a lot. We're trying to get to 1,000 streams. The song came out less than almost 12 hours ago now. We're at 160 streams, so we need 840 streams. We need 840 streams. Can we do that, gang? Can we get to 840? I can't believe we got to 340 followers on Twitch. That's crazy. We were literally at 330 like yesterday, I swear to God. Oh my God. Okay, guys. Maybe hold on. I'm gonna grab a protein bar and some spaghetti. I'll leave you guys with like something woke. What are some burning questions? What are some burning questions? I feel like there are some questions I may have missed. Let's see. Let's see. There's some good videos here. Let's see. What's like a communist like a pretty common like communist clapback? Oh, we can do the.
I expected this.
We can do what I was talking about. Xi Jinping thought. Let's see. Okay. Let's turn out just a little bit.
Someone just said this guy sure acts democratic but doesn't allow elections. I like that we're watching an entire video about the Xi Jinping governance of China, and there are still chatters in here being like, no, they don't have elections. Yes, they do. Instead of having a fake duopoly, they have a one-party structure, but local elections are what matters in that structure. Of course they have. Let's get to a summary of Xi Jinping's governance of China from this channel called Red
Governance
Pen.
of China is a 4-volume collection of speeches and writings by Xi Jinping, the General Secretary of the Communist Party of China, which outlines the official party
We're doing it. We're diving into it.
perspective on China's development in the 21st century.
Be right back,
The
guys.
writings encompass Xi Jinping's views on economics, domestic and international politics, infrastructure, technology, environmentalism, peaceful coexistence, and military affairs.
He looks hotter now.
The Governance of China is a unique text because it is a book written from a global historical perspective by a statesman with the power to actually shape the future course of a major country. Through an extensive grasp on Chinese as well as Western history and literature, Xi Jinping not only articulates the intricacies of China's internal development, but relates China's development to its growing role in global politics. The text does not present a Western-style critique of capitalism couched in the language of negation and idealism, but instead presents a tangible framework for concrete struggle of building a communist society. With the rise of the People's Republic of China, its growing power on the global stage, as well as an emerging soft power conflict with the West, it is increasingly important that the world understands what China is doing, how it got here, where it is headed, and how nations across the world factor into this world historic transformation seen with the rise of socialist China. China's relationship to Marxism-Leninism began in the early 20th century during a time of significant social and political upheaval. The country experienced several major internal struggles for a long period of time, including the Taiping Rebellion in the mid-19th century, the Boxer Rebellion at the dawn of the 20th century, and the overthrow of the Qing dynasty in 1911. The fall of the Qing dynasty was followed by the fragmentation of China into regions controlled by warlords and the Kuomintang, leaving the country in chaos and vulnerable to foreign powers. It wasn't until the 1917 Russian Revolution that the Chinese saw a clear example of how Marxism-Leninism could be applied to overthrow a repressive regime and establish a socialist state. Inspired by the developments in Russia, Chinese intellectuals began to explore Marxism-Leninism as a solution to China's problems, which quickly led to the 1919 Democratic Revolution and the founding of the Communist Party of China in 1921. Mao Zedong, a key member of the party,
Hot. Okay, 125 is better. 15 might be too fast.
played a crucial role in adapting Marxism-Leninism to China's specific conditions and predominantly rural population. His interpretation of Marxism-Leninism, known as Mao Zedong thought, emphasized the potential of the peasantry rather than the proletariat as the revolutionary class, marking a significant departure from classical Marxism but demonstrating the flexibility of Marxist theory in different historical and social contexts. Under Mao's leadership throughout the 1930s and 40s, the Communist Party engaged in various struggles against warlords, Kuomintang nationalists, and foreign invaders, notably during the Second Sino-Japanese War. In building the People's Liberation Army, the party recognized the importance of military strength and leadership. As Xi Jinping states, while it was engaged in violent struggle, the party came to recognize the irrefutable truth that it must command the gun and build a people's military of its own. Chinese people learned that it was an imperative to send the aggressors a message they would understand. War must be fought to deter aggression. Force must be met with force, and a victory is the best way to win peace and respect. We Chinese people do not provoke others, nor do we shy away from trouble. We do not give in to fear or yield in the face of difficulties and dangers. The Chinese nation will never cower before threats or be subdued by oppressors. By 1949, the communist victory in the Chinese Civil War and the establishment of the People's Republic of China marked the triumph of Marxism-Leninism in China and validated its significance in the Chinese Revolution. Over the past 95 years, the Communist Party of China has accomplished so many tasks which were thought to be impossible by other political forces. The reason for this,
It's interesting because their response to the tariffs was literally verbatim one-to-one this statement.
has been precisely attributed to our adoption of Marxism as our guide of action. This has allowed our party to free itself from the limitations of all previous political forces, which focused on pursuing their own special interests. Departing from or abandoning Marxism, the party would lose its soul and direction. On the issue of Marxism as the fundamental guiding thought, we should not waver under any circumstances.
And for the record, one thing that I want to mention here, we're going to talk about Xi Jinping, but of course you can't do that without establishing Maoist thought in China, and this is his opinion on Mao in his own words. Obviously, Maoism in the United States of America is not. No, that's not. Don't get mad at me, but I don't think it's going to work. You know what I mean? Although there have been a lot of successful revolutionary initiatives in the United States of America that have been motivated by Mao. The Black Panther Party comes to mind. Okay, the material conditions of the United States are not. It's just incredibly. I want to say difficult, but it's just not going to happen. It's just not a thing. We don't have that. The Iowa peasant Maoist revolution will happen. No, how dare you? One day.
Following the death of Mao Zedong, Deng Xiaoping rose to prominence and initiated the policy of reform and opening up in 1978. Reform and opening up recognized the dialectical necessity of adapting to changing conditions and constantly developing theory to guide necessary changes in practice. For China, the overall purpose of development is to open up to the world through globalization, cultural exchange, and knowledge sharing. The process of opening up produces outcomes that cause changes in the social structure that require reform. Reform and opening up is therefore seen by the Communist Party of China as an ongoing and holistic process that will continue on indefinitely. Deng Xiaoping designed and led the Reform and Opening Up initiative and the modernization drive with a view to improving the well-being of the Chinese people, stressing on many occasions that poverty.
You need to ask clip channels to upload to Bilibili, tons of views, lots of coins, high engagement, and the Chinese netizens glaze you like I've never seen before, calling you a wise foreign scholar who knows the real truth but is depressed that he is unable to change the course of history.
All right, what did we learn so far, guys? What did we learn? What did we learn? Do we want to continue in the video? I do remember the conversation tangent that we were missing, especially I think somebody asked who asked about how do I feel about land back? Is that person still there? What's good, Steve? What's good, Steve? What's good, Steven? How you doing? Is that person still there about the land back? Okay. So I don't know your framework in terms of how you're saying about land back. I've seen this heard the idea that if there was a socialist revolution in America, we would just give the land back to the Native Americans. If you fundamentally believe that that's possible, I think you just don't understand. You've never spoken to a person in the First Nations or somebody who lives in the res, or really understand the economic framework that the current reservations live right now. Because right now, in the current reality, the reservations are a sovereign nations within America. They're treated like that as such. They have their own police, governmental bodies, and that is the issue. Because America can purposely ignore them, which is why America will refuse to fix their infrastructure, rotting pipes. They can, or speaking of pipes, they can just build a pipeline right through their lands because there's no governmental or state structure that could really stop the U.S. military as it is. So looking at that through a dialectical materials lens is that the best way to help the First Nations people is by making them an autonomous republic, no different than what the USSR or what China does with their with cultures of significant presence within a region. So in the I agree with the ACP and the theoretical United Social States of America. The true materialist way of a land back would be transforming all the reses into autonomous republics. They would have their own seat. They would have their own seat within the legislative body. And their voting power maybe even double than what the states are. But there would be autonomous republics within the nation state, and they would get all the benefits of being part of the nation state, unlike what is happening right now, where the reses are treated as sovereign, treated as sovereign nations, but that gives America an excuse to ignore all the ills that's happening within their framework of society. I found Frank Ocean's Digital Design online and I'm reading it. So yeah, I believe in land back, but I don't believe it in the way a lot of ideological leftists believe in the idea like, oh, we're just gonna give it back to Native Americans. Like, have you spoken to the Native American? I've spoken to many Native Americans. Again, my family has been great friends with the Blackfoot tribes of Dakotas all my childhood. Like I literally, they stayed in our house like once or twice a year all the time since I was like 10 years old when we moved to Colorado. Not once did they ask about land back. All they did was complain about the reses and how they can't get certain things because of the res. How the United States Postal Service won't deliver things to their mailbox. They have to go to the edge of the reservation to get it. How the power would always go out because they can't get to use the same power lines as like the local neighborhood because that's technically across the border. Like it doesn't. I think when people try to go at the ACP, like, oh, you don't support land back, it's ultras, not really. It's usually ultras who have never spoken to a Native American in their life, or it's probably ultras who are like 1/8 Cherokee princess, and have some sort of noble savage idea of what the actual problems of the First Nations community. I gotta say First Nations. I can't keep saying a Native American because I met a lot, and a lot of them prefer First Nations. And that's the structure of how the USSR and China even is. Like, almost all socialist nations have this structure where it's not just states or counties, there's autonomous republics for certain ethnic groups. In a theoretical United Social States of America, there'd be way more states, but there'd also be way more autonomous republics. For example, Appalachia would probably be an autonomous republic because the culture of Appalachia is much different than the surrounding states in the East Coast. And they also have their own insular governmental structures, cultural significances, or even like it's no different from the Reds, is like their own rooted infrastructure and industry. Backwards says Atlanta should be a sovereign nation. No. It is no. Definitely not for sure. 100% no. You're no way. No, but no, okay, to answer that question realistically, how it would probably be treated, a lot of major cities would be treated in the same way how China is treated as megacities. Within the Chinese structure, which is what the USSR would have probably done if it was continued to evolve into a modern China, is that major cities can be large enough that they're essentially their own mini states. So there are representatives of major cities along with major representatives of counties and states within the larger legislative body of the 3,000 member in China. So, for example, in a theoretical United Social States of America, if we had our version of the legislative body, which would be the government body, it would be a government body. For example, there are about how many counties are there in America? We'll Google it. How many counties are in the U.S.? Okay, so in a theoretical United Social States of America, think we have the judicial, executive, legislative branch down. Executive is the top one. No, in the United Socialist States of America, legislative we the top one. This is where all the rules be set, and the legislative body controls who are the bosses of the executive and the judicial branch. There would be, since we have it says we have about 44 counties in America. That means there'd be over 41 representatives that would be part of this legislative body, which would also include how. Let's see, what are the top 50 major cities? Actually, no, how about this? How many cities in America have a population of 10 million? That's how it works in China. Oh, actually, not that many. Oh, we are not that dense. That's crazy. So in the theoretical United States of America, New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Houston, Phoenix, interesting, Philadelphia, San Antonio, San Diego, Dallas, and Jacksonville would have their own representatives because they control such a large population. Or I guess Fort Worth as well, because they have over 1 million people, they can be considered as large as a state. So they would have their own representatives within this legislative body. Can you hear the fireworks? Can you guys hear the fireworks? There's no way you guys can hear the fireworks. You guys can hear the fireworks? It's crazy. I didn't think it's that loud. What do you think caused the fall of USSR? They took share towards economics, or your thoughts? Capitalism. It's because the structures within, because Khrushchev thought having a little capitalism would be okay. He got confused within, like, the simplest way is that USSR had an internal structural problem where they judged themselves based in the same way as the United States by GDP and allowed capitalists to have political power, and that was pretty much a quick rise to their fall. Hold on, there's a great article about this. I can just read that. You can just get taught. Oh, bro, that's what I hate. Sometimes socialist articles get taken down. I have to go to like the web archive. So annoying. Guys, we're at 176 streams on the song. Hell yeah. Frank Ocean likes white men? That's interesting. Hmm. How do we feel about that, chat? It's interesting. That's so annoying. I got 2014. Okay. Okay. There's this article I can read. I'm trying to find another one. Okay. Damn. Damn, I can really, oh my God. Damn. Because this is what I read about the fall of the USSR, and I was trying to condense it, but I forgot how many pages were. I remember I did spend like an entire day reading this. Damn, I forgot it was 61 pages. Let me download this so I don't have to worry about this again. Oh my God, should we do it? Oh, let me see. Let me find a good for example. Is there hold on, I gotta find a different article. Bruh, there's so many guys. I'm looking at this other article that I read. God, this one was long as hell too. Yeah, there's like there are so many ways, like there's not really so many ways. It's like to explain why the USSR fell, it's strictly it's economics. It's micro and macroeconomics mixed with a Marxist viewpoint of what was going on with what was happening with them culturally. Like you have to understand the conditions that like the USSR, like even the fact that the USSR even existed is quite literally a human miracle. We're talking a civil war, then two back-to-back world wars where they lost almost like 100 million people, like generations lost because of fascists. Still building one of the best economic systems in human history. Still going to the moon. Like it's the fact that the USSR existed is quite literally a human miracle. Okay, wait, I found this. This the one. Oh my God, they're all so long. Okay, this guy kind of does it really well. He lives out some things, but okay, this is not the worst explainer. He lives out some things, but okay, it's not the worst explainer. Here's my attempt to explain it through a Marxist point of view. I would say because of the USSR fell because of the pressure of the Cold War. The material conditions. The USSR was not roughly on par with the United States in wealth and technology because, let's not forget, she suffered from 2 world wars and a civil war, whereas her rival did quite fine during those decades. I said that. Now, you gotta remember, like, hold on, I'll even Google this. How many Americans died in World War II? Only roughly 400,000 Americans died in World War II. Now, how many Soviets died in World War II? Watch. 27 million. 27 million compared to only 400,000 Americans. I feel like people like there's so much World War II propaganda. You would think like 10 million Americans died in World War II. Nah, not even 500,000. And like only 1,700 of those were civilian deaths. If it wasn't for USSR, Germany definitely would have gotten it. If it wasn't for the USSR, the USA would have been part of the Axis. 100%. I say this to a lot of people. The USA would have 100% been part of the Axis powers. 100%. 100%. Let's see. Honestly, if it wasn't for the USSR, we probably would have had something similar to the Spanish Civil War. Okay, so we just learned, yeah, so she suffered from 2 world wars and the civil wars, whereas her rival did quite fine during those decades. About the contradictions, the USSR did develop the atom bomb and send things and people to space before the West, and it's out of question to start a new world anyway. But we still have the US, who's doing very well with the capitalist mode of production and doesn't want her red neighbor to last, and the USSR, who wants to defend the revolution and spread it worldwide. Because, you know, the main point of a social state is to help the whole world to attain communism before fading away. About the clash. Now we have the Cold War and the ensuing proxy wars and arms race. I'll focus on the arms race as an example because the cause of the collapse is too complex and has too many other facets, like I said. As I mentioned above, the Soviet Union was not as advanced as the United States and her allies. That meant she had more trouble to sustain big military expenses and satisfy her population needs. While good jobs have been done on housing, employment, and healthcare, Soviet leaders had to find the right balance between social policies and defense. Hence the infamously late emphasis on consumer goods and political liberties. The population, I don't agree with this, population being angrier, and Gorbachev's hasty reforms gave the final blow to the Soviet apparatus. The Western propaganda, which loved to point out disparity of political liberties and life comfort, did not help. I don't agree with this last statement. For those that I know, the Soviet Union being dissolved was an illegal move. 91% of Soviet citizens voted to keep the USSR, but because of internal agents, it was dissolved. It was quite literally a capitalist coup. I don't agree with that. Yes, the population only got angrier because Gorbachev wanted Pizza Hut in the USSR when that wasn't the issue. And China rightfully understood from that socialist policy that you have to focus on growing your proletariat before you continue on the world revolution. But yeah, I think it's about 70%. Not okay. Let's look it up. Let's look that up. Look it up. Oh. So it turns out, okay, so we're reading 80% of registered voters participated in the referendum. 77.85% of voters cast their ballots in favor of staying in a new union state. Look, that's damn near 90%. Your articles are for so, yeah. But there's a lot of material conditions that occurred. I think something that China learned from from about the fall of the USSR was understanding internal contradictions, uplifting your people first, and that world revolutions are very expensive, and there needs to be a lot more socialist allies and a better ground before doing that. Like, we could do a lot of like, oh, they should have done this, should have done this, but the material reality was that the USSR came from 2 back-to-back world wars where they took the brunt of the damage, and the fact that they were still able to continue on as a nation even after that for so long is a testament. I think it's better as communists and socialists to always take up radical optimism and understand what they accomplished versus how they failed, because optimism is radical, optimism is revolutionary, capitalism is inherently cynical and negative. And we have to always understand that the USSR was a success when you really look at the materiality that they lived in and what they were able to accomplish and what they allowed, and the fact that they expanded the idea of what was possible. Because without the existence of the USSR, there would have been no China, there would be no free Vietnam, there would be no free Laos, there would be no Cuba. The USSR was one of the greatest things that ever happened to humanity, and they were successful in what they were in creating a different future, a different path for humanity. I think it's very important that communists and leftists understand, always take up revolutionary optimism. Like I always say, like the Black Panthers were successful. People do not understand how cops used to really treat Black people before the rise of the Black Panthers. Imagine cops patrolling your neighborhood day in and day out. It collapsed at the end of the day. Okay, see, this is where you're level 10 and level 20. Why did it collapse? I think this is a very A to B thinking that you need to remove. What was the USSR able to accomplish? Like, this is honestly reactionary. Like, because what does that statement help? Who does that help? What are you trying to make people think? Like, what is the goal? Yeah, you have to have more reasoning into, because words are power and understandings are power. Are you typing that comment thinking, but I want people to think the USSR sucks? What was the goal of that? I'm saying people need to have more revolutionary optimism, because most people are like you and want to be cynical and make things sad and only want to see the disappointment, or give the idea like, oh, they clap, so don't learn anything from it. What is the goal of that? Who do you align with? Who also thinks like that? Why do you align with that? You have to understand, what is the goal with your words. Are you trying to make me to think that? Because I'm going to act like this, and understand I'm going to ask you, what is your goal? You have to understand intention. Because I see through intention. I'm not an ultra and idealist. I'm a materialist. When people say things like that, I look at you as a person and think, what was your goal here? What are you trying to make people here think? To not align with the USSR? To be pessimistic? To be cynical? What is your goal? I'll look at the goal of the message versus the message in itself. Because that's really how you should be looking at somebody like a true human being. Like, I'm trying to understand your goals here. Because if I understand it correctly, it's a sad one. All right, guys. It's Marvel Rivals time. We've been ranting for like, guys, we ranted. That's probably one of the longest rants yet. That's probably easily one of the longest rants yet. Goddamn. Okay, baby God. Okay. How can I crop this? I'll keep it up here. I'm gonna make myself a bit smaller. Let's see. No, I agree that the USSR made great achievements. Obviously, note the CIA said it was involved when it collapsed. Look at you, thinking about your words, Shilling Spill. Look at you. Look at you, understanding intentions. We're proud of you. Because now I have a better idea. Let's go. All right. Damn it, yo, we're -3. Yo, okay, if we lose this next one, we lose right now. Crazy. Damn, they're popping. They're popping those. You guys hear that? I swear fireworks to get louder every year. These sounds like explosions, yo. I swear it's a sob to get us used to bombs. I swear it's a sob. What's your intention? To get Americans thinking the correct way, to think more revolutionary positive. Because most Americans, in my honest opinion, are cynical and negative. I think it's inherently contradictory if you really want to be a America fuck yeah mindset. I think in a lot of recent, which is why I think we're in the midst of a socialist revolution. I think weirdly enough, too many Americans have picked up on this defeatism within my own lifetime. That is very boring, and it like it's very end of history, and I don't enjoy that. I destroy end of history frameworks. I hate cynical ideas of what is possible. My goal is revolutionary optimism at all times. A better world is possible. Now, and I'm always willing to die on that hill. And I think there are plenty of examples of people doing that. And they are those who the powers that be classically call our enemies. So I think it's revolutionary to always question that. Now this pasta banana combo is smacking. All right. Yo, we're at 191 streams on the song. Fire. Fire. All right, guys. Does anybody want to play? Let's see. Damn, 16. Raider. Okay. See how we do. I'm kind of scared. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Yeah, I'll keep pasta. All right, let's turn up the song.
hero do you think you want to be today?
Right?
Who are you calling a raccoon, huh?
Yo, definitely ban the magic.
Oh,
There's two
we
magic
lost. We
mains.
got Arthur Park on that team, bro.
No, ban magic. Ban the
what
magic.
fuck?
Ban the magic, bro.
Man,
Don't
who,
ban
man?
magic. Don't ban
Magic,
magic. We
yeah,
got magic.
yeah.
Bro,
We
we
got
got
it.
we got apricot, bro.
Abercrombie
Ban,
is some
ban,
shit, bro.
no, ban
Yo,
magic for
apricot,
sure.
You gotta
Some poo-poo
you gotta
fucking
tee up
shit.
this time, bro.
You
Please.
gotta lock in, bro. That shit was not it last round.
We won,
lucky-
but you gotta tee
You
up.
lucky they had an AFK because I would have reported your ass.
All right. There's a really nice Ultron. There's a really nice Wolverine. There's a nice Punisher, and there's a nice Storm. What do you want to ban?
I say Punisher, bro.
I
Punisher
agree with
or
that.
Ultron?
Nah, if we ban Punisher, how the fuck I'm gonna do the Wolverine, the Storm?
Well, wait, inshallah. But inshallah, as he wills. We'll see. If,
What?
What's the enchilada? What?
yeah,
Oh,
inshallah, as he
Muslim.
wills. No, I'm Catholic actually. I just think
Muslim.
Muslims got bars. No, I think Muslims got bars. They have the
Allah,
best way of
Allah.
invoking God. Yeah, I'm Catholic, bro.
Do Muslims not eat every 30 days during Ramadan?
I don't know, God. I'm Catholic.
Oh, you just speak Muslim.
Oh,
No, I
Allah.
like how they invoke God. I think it's bars.
Mm.
Like, could they be saying Bismillah, Mashallah,
Do you also steal their
Inshallah?
flag?
I'm on my DJ Khaled shit
You
on
be
the bed.
stealing their little hats?
No. Those are Jews. Jews have the little hats.
Oh.
What do the Allahs have?
I don't know, bro. I'm Catholic.
Isn't that shit in the Bible, bro? Come on.
No way the game crashed. Oh my god. No way. No way the game crashed. No way. I never had this happen before. No way. Guys, I can't believe we crashed. I never crashed before. I'm scared. Oh, thank you for getting us to 5,500 likes on the TikTok stream. Let's go, gang. Dude, that's so embarrassing. I've never crashed before.
Some of my best
Yeah.
friends.
No.